welcome to another episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
I'm Chris Hughes.
Today we're going to be talking about 1986's Stewardess School.
Blowjob is actually one word.
Wait, is it really? To me it is.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no real coach.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl a little hot and horny.
You could have been decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy would have had to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
So guys, the two Chris's have arrived on the Grindbin.
Chris on Chris action.
Chris on Chris action. The reason that both of you are here today is because Hughes and I were actually going to record this episode while you were away, Chris, on tour.
right.
But then Hughes got sick, and so we just rescheduled and said, well, why don't we all bring them together and prove that you two are independent people and you're not the same person.
Finally.
Yeah, well,
So Chris Mann comes back from tour. We tell him, hey, Chris, fire up this movie, Stewardess School. This is the one of all the movies I sent to Hughes, the one he picked, because you said...
I said that I read the IMDb reviews of the movies that you gave me a list of, and this one was Airplane meets Police Academy.
Which
And I'm
sounds like a nightmare.
it sounds amazing to me. Let's do it.
And so Chris Mann comes back literally the day after getting home, fires up this movie. He comes over last night. We try to record for 3 hours. We can't figure out why the recording equipment's not working.
now when we say we tried to record for 3 hours, we literally spent 3 hours trying to record. We didn't record.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, so let's be clear.
And Chris was in a bad mood last night, and he's sure as hell in a bad mood today. So just a fair warning, this is going to be a real lunch wagon experience for Chris Mann. He's in a pissed off mood, and he loved the movie. So we're
is
going to
that
find
so?
out.
Because I sense my fist going towards your dick at a rapid pace right now.
Well, why don't we get into it, guys? Get a little bit of trivia for you, okay?
Yeah.
So this was, it claims, and I don't know about this one, but it said it's claims on the IMDb trivia, which you know is just written by regular people. So, like I said, one day I hope somebody writes on the Vans IMDb trivia. There's a podcast out there that plays that references it every episode. That would be great. But this one, somebody wrote one of the many movies made after Police Academy to try and catch in on that craze. But I don't know how that necessarily fits the bill, other than we have an academy of sorts and people who I guess are still qualified at the end of the day to be flight attendants. I mean, why would they not be?
Basically, this film is about these band of misfits that go to some debutante school for flight attendants. It's something that's so unrealistic, so out of I don't know. Nothing like this exists for flight attendant school because you don't go and you share co-ed showers.
Okay, you just said a phrase, flight attendant school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that doesn't exist.
No,
it
right.
just doesn't exist.
Right. What this film is depicting does not exist.
Now, maybe I'm wrong, but okay, in the 80s, when you wanted to be a flight attendant, did you have to go to like an academy in Beverly Hills and like go in some intensive boot camp style course and run up a mountain and all sorts of
Yeah,
shit?
because they have them doing PE.
Or do you just go to fucking Delta and say, hey, can I have a job application? They go, oh, sure.
But I think it would have to be like a standard of.
There
like,
is a standard,
There's
yeah.
a standard like you. It's first off, it's the weirdest on-the-job training if there is no school for it. But second, like how do you go from British Airways to like Southwest in quality of stewardesses? There has to be some kind of
There
like
is-
pool,
right,
Where
there
they
is-
pull
Yeah,
from.
at some point at the end, he's like, all right, now we have airlines that have picked you, like drafted you like it's the NBA draft
Yeah.
or something, that to your certain airline. I'm like, what?
Or maybe we're that ignorant and
fuck
we
you
really don't know. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe that is a thing. They line him up and say, she's fat. And they just don't pick her. We don't know. That could be a thing.
Well, in the 80s, it was a thing. If
Oh,
you were
God.
fat, you
Yeah.
were not a stewardess.
Right, but I'm in
Yeah,
today's
the
standards.
amount of body shaming in this movie
Yeah.
is sickening. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. There is a woman who's just a regular looking woman. Like when they said at one point that she was supposed to be fat, I was like, wait, she's supposed to be
She
fat?
was supposed to be the token fat girl.
I'm like, they couldn't. If you're gonna have a fat character, make him fat.
yeah, like a Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
she just looked like a normal person. I'm
Yeah.
like, why is she going on about? Well, we'll get into it when we get to the movie because it was really bothering me. And then the way it ends, I'm like, all right.
You just described the movie. The way it goes is just all right.
Yeah, pretty much.
On to the next
This
scene.
is it's not a Crown movie, but goddamn, did we just get to a plot in the last 20 minutes? And I did watch it at 1.5 speed, and I didn't miss a fucking thing.
Oh, you too? I've done that for almost all movies we watch on YouTube, and I'm like,
Jesus
I think it's gonna shave some time off my day.
You motherfuckers! I watch it at regular speed, and I watch the credits, which neither of you do.
Okay,
you know
I
what?
watched
You
this
know
movie
what?
twice.
No, I'm
Hughes.
sorry.
I've watched this movie twice.
We've been doing this for over a year. We have some leeway, all right? You waltz in here like you own the joint. You come, you bring a microphone, like
He's like, of the 3 episodes I've watched, I watched them at 75% speed so I could get even more of an experience and not miss anything. I heard all of Rudy Ray Moore in slow motion, so fuck you. So here we go. A little bit more trivia for you. This movie was produced in not 1986 because Columbia Pictures, making their inaugural debut on the Grindbin, welcome Columbia,
Yep.
aka Sony Pictures. We're glad to have you. We're maybe not sure you'll appear again, but you have a fine entry here.
The
into
owners
the
of
bin.
Matilda,
Oh, really? Wow. Very
Sony
interesting.
Pictures.
So you're shitting on your employer. That residual
But
check.
that's
is still-
$17 a year. It's sitting in the state controller's office right now.
So this movie sat on the shelf for a year and a half before Columbia finally decided, well, we spent all that money on that plane movie. We might as well just shove it out in the audience and put it out as a summer release, a late summer release. Maybe we can cash in and see what we get. Didn't really work out because the movie was released August 29th, 1986 with an estimated budget of $8 million, which is a horrific number when you look at this movie. And as Chris said yesterday when we tried to record this episode, where? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I have no idea
I
where
can't
it's
tell
spent.
you.
fuzzy accounting.
But the movie made $136,000, so it really did a good job of recouping that budget.
Well, that was my point when we were trying to figure out, the marketing is where they were just sick of having this thing on the shelf. It was like, let's just not market it. We're not even going to bother to market this. No commercials, no press.
I feel like they just put a poster up on a few box offices, and they're like, maybe somebody will go because we got this broad sitting on an airplane, you know, that will attract at least somebody more than a Shia LaBeouf movie.
So who do you think this movie was made for after watching it? It's not...
Not for flight
It's not a teen sex comedy. It's not a drive-in theater.
Who is this made for? Nobody.
There's no
Literally
audience
nobody.
for this.
It insults almost everybody. If you wear glasses, fuck you. If you're
you're
not
chubby.
skinny as a fucking rail, fuck you. If you're good at your job, fuck you. If you're a redhead who wears a fedora, fuck you. So who is this for? If you're a female wrestler, you are a fucking loser and no man will ever want to marry you. Fuck you. Welcome to Stewardess School, everybody.
Yep. It's an equal opportunity offender.
Yes, very much so. So the one good shining light for this movie is that it did make $16,000 more than Jocks, which was another movie we covered. But that was released by Crown International and not Columbia, so that's a big difference in the
Big time.
quality of production. And I don't think Jocks cost $8 million, but with Crown's accounting, it might have. It might have cost $20 million. You don't know over there. The receipts are often lost. We just moved to offices last month. The kid, I tell you, they were in a box. It fell off, fell into the L.A. River. Some giant octopus came by, grabbed it out of the car. Damnedest thing you ever seen. So the Wikipedia states that this movie, by the early 2000s, was one of the most played films on American cable, specifically Comedy Central. So probably a lot of people have seen this movie, this shit show, on one cable channel or another, because you can't find it other than on YouTube and the Sony Movie Channel, by the way.
Is the quality the same?
It's HD, but it was never released on DVD. To my knowledge, it's only on VHS, maybe on like some DVD collection, but it's not worth seeking out. Just go watch it for free on YouTube, and don't give Columbia money for this movie. Do not give them money for this fucking movie.
Is there a soundtrack?
There's one original
Well, there
song.
is one song. We'll get to that, Chris. But before we get into the crew, well, this is part of the crew, but the director of photography for this movie, believe it or not, we do have an Oscar winner.
Oh, God.
He won that for The Towering Inferno, which, Grindbin All-Star. Sterling Silliphant wrote from Catch the Heat. That's a movie I recommend, Catch the Heat.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites, actually. Sometimes I'll go back and watch that movie again.
Love it.
Because it's literally the craziest thing. All right, so we get into the crew. Ken Blancato, writer and director of this movie. Now, this is the only movie he ever wrote or directed, which is a shame, huh? But he also wrote the song. Chris, you were asking about the music.
Yeah.
He wrote the song for a movie called Stew School, which I don't know where the hell that appeared in the movie.
In the credits that you guys don't watch?
I did not watch the
I did
credits.
not.
As soon as I saw a text on screen, I turned it off.
As soon as I saw the freeze frame of a ginger shit and like two girls between them, I was like, I'm
Ginger
done.
shit.
I'm done.
Oh, that's how it ends. Spoiler.
Well, forever ruined by Bobby. Any ginger in a movie is already a rapist and a sexual assaulter.
Yeah, well, we'll get into where Bobby fits into this movie.
Oh, good.
But now, he only wrote and directed one movie, which was Stewardess School, so he went out on top, obviously. But he produced some movies, including 2013, a movie called The Book Thief, and 2015, a movie called Max, which I had told you guys about last night, which is a German Shepherd military dog who like goes to live with the family, and Thomas Hayden Church makes him live in the backyard in a cage because he hates fun.
He hates fun, and he knocked over the casket at the funeral.
No, I told you there is the part when they introduce the dog is the funniest part of this movie. I saw this movie at a dollar theater.
Yeah.
Packed house.
Packed house, not a seat in the fucking house. I had to sit in the very back. My wife and I were like, "Well, nobody will be going to this
Dollar theater. Who knew?
Yeah, who knew?
Who knew?
It's filled with old people and children. I went to go laugh, and now I'm like, well, great. Now I can't laugh at the movie. I still laughed. I laughed my fucking ass off. But the part, so like they basically say, oh, hey, your son died in Iraq, and everybody's like, oh, we're sad. And then they're like, well, we're gonna fly his body back and have a funeral, and he had a dog. We're gonna kill it unless you want it. And they're like, well, I guess we'll take that dumb dog. And there's a part where they introduce the dog. So for some reason, the military's decided, like, let's not, like, save the dog for a normal time to introduce it to the family. Let's bring it to the funeral, right?
Yeah.
They didn't roll it in a dog casket or anything. They just, they walk in a German Shepherd into a funeral, a packed house of a church,
Was
right?
the dog the pallbearer? Like it dragged
Yeah.
it down the aisle?
It actually had a bouquet of flowers on the
Oh.
back, you know?
It's not a fucking wedding. It's a funeral.
I believe the storyline was that in his will he wanted the dog buried with him, but they were like, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
There's not enough room in the coffin. Otherwise, we would.
How Egyptian.
But they walk this dog into a full funeral, and then the dog like breaks off the leash and just starts running to the casket and starts scratching it and everything, and everybody's just looking on like, oh, he loved that guy. I was hoping the dad'd be like, hey, get them the fuck out of there. Come on. You know how much I paid at Costco for this thing?
No returns.
And you were the one who said we should get it with the finish on it. This is your fucking fault, kid. But this is the best part about the whole thing, okay? That movie, one of the worst movies I've seen in my entire life, which I highly suggest everybody go watch it. 2017, Max 2, White House Hero, is now coming out in May. We watched the trailer for it. It is fucking amazing. And there's a part where it shows Max leaping through the air, and then it fades into an American flag. If you're wondering, does he jump through a White House window? Of course he does.
I cannot wait.
Do they have Max go undercover, like to get Bin Laden?
Yeah, we were saying that at some point they should have Max. Maybe he becomes part of SEAL Team 6.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe it would be under the Obama presidency.
Right.
And they would send Max with SEAL Team 6. And they'd be like, Obama's sitting in the war room, and he goes, send in Max. And
There's this dog in like a turban and the other guy.
and a big beard.
A big beard, yeah.
So Phil Feldman, he is the producer of this movie. Now, this was the last movie he ever produced, and then he died 5 years later in shame at the age of 69. This is certainly the worst movie he ever produced, because 1969, he produced The Wild Bunch, which is a legit movie.
Yeah.
1976, one of your favorites, Chris. He's the executive producer on The Gumball Rally.
Thank you, Dom.
Hughes and I used to watch so many Burt Reynolds movies. Like, we're big fans of all of them. All the Smokey and the Bandits. I got that box set. We watched it all in one night.
Yep.
And then we were like, what do you mean Burt Reynolds isn't in the third one? What the
He is
fuck
in the
is
third
this?
one. He is in the third
He's
one.
in a flashback. And he's only in a flashback and the credits where they just played bloopers of him from another movie. It's not even the same movie.
Yeah.
Like, they just show a scene from, like, Smokey and the Bandit 2 in the credits for Smokey and the Bandit 3.
Well, you're giving away like the future plans of Grindbin, where you just play old episodes spliced around to be new ones.
1983, executive producer on Blue Thunder, and then 1986, Stewardess School.
Yeah.
And then he left the industry in shame. The cast we get into here, Brett Cullen, who plays Philo Henderson.
The worst name
we
of a
had
character.
some controversy about the name. Was it Milo? I heard Milo.
I thought it was Milo.
I did
In
too.
my notes, it's written as Milo.
It was Philo. It upset me.
Even though I did the research for this movie before I watched it, I still wrote down his name as Milo. And then I look back and I go, who is Philo?
Philo with a PH.
He has actually a pretty successful career. He was in a bunch of movies and TV shows, including he was in a movie 1994, Wyatt Earp. Never heard of that one. 1995, he was in some movie called Apollo 13. Have you ever heard of that? 1997, The Killing Jar. 2000, The Replacements. 2003, National Security with Martin Lawrence, one of my favorites. Go watch Black Knight. I love that movie.
I saw that while I was waiting to get an oil change.
Okay. I believe it. I went in to get my car oil changed the other day, and for some reason they had Liar Liar on the TV, and I'm like, well, this is about the only place I could imagine seeing this. So.
Yeah. No, I actually physically went to a theater to watch it while I waited for my oil to get changed.
Oh my.
I was the only person in that movie theater.
One time I went to a free screening, right? I
Yeah.
was supposed to go see the movie Idiocracy. Okay, so
yeah.
this will date it. I got this thing, and they're like, come and see the movie. Just bring this flyer. Okay, so I go up to the front, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's full. You can't go in. And I'm like, well, why did you tell me to show up? And they're like, no, it's okay, sir. You get a ticket for a free movie right now. What do you and your girlfriend want to see? And I look and I'm like, well, the only movie starting is Martin Lawrence in Rebound. And I'm like, well, 2. Wow, I saw that movie in the theater, and oh boy. I can't tell you why I stayed. Like, I watched the whole thing. I was just like, oh. But the weirdest thing, we're going to have to cut out so much this episode, but the weirdest thing to me about Black Knight is he goes back in time, okay?
With the basketball jersey.
With like a fucking Celtics jersey on,
Yeah.
right? Not one person in medieval times even asked him. And by the way, this doesn't make any sense because also the king's daughter is a black woman.
There's a lot of black kings in Europe.
And I was like,
medieval times.
but where's her mom? Obviously, the princess is a black woman, and then Martin comes back and he's black. He's the only black guy like in medieval times, and not one person ever says one thing about it.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Like it couldn't even be one joke. Like.
Even Men in Black 3 like fired one off.
I know, but this is what I'm saying is like, okay, so in medieval times, like, obviously people living in the middle of England or Europe, they're never going to see a black person.
The only thing I would compare it to is the Disney Robin Hood, where it was the Fox Princess and the Lion King, and then Robin Hood happened to be a fox, so then they were able to get together, and nobody cared. Or how did a lion make a fox?
Fuck you, Hughes. That's the worst. I'm not even answering that. We're moving on. Jesus Christ. Okay, here's an interesting one, though, for Brett Cullen. 2007, he was in the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider.
Oh, God.
And he played Barton Blaze, who's Nicolas Cage's father. He's like the same age. How does he play his fucking dad? 2010, he was in The Runaways. 2012, he was in The Dark Knight Rises. And 2016, The Shallows. He's still working steadily. And I'm sure that 1986, this was his first movie. He looks back on it fondly as Rob Morrow looks back fondly on Private Resort. And they go, oh, the good old days. We got to talk about this guy. He's fucking terrible in this movie. Bobby Incarnate in this movie.
Yeah.
Donald Most, who plays George Bunkle, or as I like to call him, Bobby. He's probably most well known for his character Ralph Malph on Happy Days.
Yeah.
He has 57 credits, including movies, TV. He was also on the show Glee and in 1999's Ed TV, which was just, what is that? Just a ripoff of
Truman
like Truman Show?
Yeah, sounds like it.
They're like, let's make that movie Truman Show again, but with like a redneck.
It was. I never watched it.
No.
Sandal Bergman, who played Wanda Polanski, the wrestling lady, she was in a lot of stuff, actually. 1979, she was in the movie All That Jazz. 1980, Xanadu. 1982, Conan the Barbarian. 1982, Airplane 2, which I'm like, you can't have somebody from Airplane in this. 1985, Ice Cream Man.
Oh,
With Clint Howard,
yeah.
which I tell you will be a future episode of this show.
I'm down.
Love that
Let's do
movie. Her last credit was in 2003, The Singing Detective with Robert Downey Jr., which I thought was like maybe a comedy, but apparently it's not. I think it's about a guy who does a bunch of cocaine and then he goes to jail.
Yeah. And
Comes back as Iron Man.
Yeah, and then he's a multi-billionaire.
it can happen to anybody.
We better start doing some
I
coke.
know. Fucking blow now.
Wendy Jo Sperber, who plays Jolene Winters. We have a lot of issues with Jolene's character in this movie. She has 54 credits. She's best known for her roles in Back to the Future 1 and 3. I guess
best
she
one.
wasn't in 2. Don't even start. As Linda McFly. I'm pretty sure she's Marty's sister.
Yeah, I can picture now. That's her.
She was also in 1980's Bosom Buddies, 1984 Bachelor Party, and 2002 Sorority Boys, which is one of Hughes' favorite movies. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2006 from breast cancer. She was only 47, so that's a real shame.
That's sad.
Sorry to bring it down. Judy Landers, who plays Sugar Dubois, which is everybody's favorite character online for some reason. 1976, The Yum Yum Girls, Yum Yum. 1979, Skate Town, USA, which was the sister movie to Roller Boogie. But Skate Town, USA has Patrick Swayze in it, so that's an interesting one. 1982, it's coming up again, Madam's Place. That fucking movie, or that TV show with that guy who has a ventriloquist lady puppet who has a talk show that we theorized must be one of the worst things of all time. She was on 52 episodes of that shit, so the fact that that show went 52 episodes to me was like, holy fuck. 1985, Hellhole, which I love the name of that movie. In 1989, Dr. Alien, which I wrote the description of. A college nerd learns his biology teacher is an alien who needs him for a breeding experiment. Uh-oh. She still acts on occasion, but not so much. I don't know why everybody's obsessed with her. But
She's got to be like
apparently
90 now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, she plays the old hooker in every movie she's in, you know? All right, so the last two I want to mention. Sherman Hemsley makes an appearance in this movie. Mr. Jefferson himself, he needs no introduction. Absolutely not. But Chris Hughes, Corinne Borer, Grindbin All-Star. She was in Joysticks.
Who is she in this movie?
The punk girl in this movie is, I believe her name's Patsy.
I think so.
She's Joe Don Baker's daughter in Joysticks. I was like, that lady looks familiar. And then I look her up. I'm like, there you go. Man, you didn't get to join us for Joysticks, but boy, that's one of my favorites. I love
gotta
that
watch
movie.
that. I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, that was actually my favorite van theory.
No
is
way.
that,
Yeah, I still haven't forgotten your theory about that one.
Bobby and DeVito painted themselves.
As joysticks.
Yeah,
and put
that's,
them.
their dicks as joysticks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flipped upside down. Yeah, we got that.
So we get into the movie. Man's going to take us through the whole thing today. Take it away.
We start.
So, guys, we start. We see a pilot, Philo. He's ready to work. Like, he's getting ready to work, right? With all this patriotic music. Like, he's the president or something. Like, he's going to be the pilot on Air Force One. This is back when being a pilot, I think, was still a respected job. Instead of now we pay them like $5 an hour, which is pathetic. And he takes out some box that says BioLens 2000, which is just some, like...
I was like, is there a new gag we're going to get from this?
You guys are skipping the whole beginning of this movie. The theme song that it opens with is a complete mix of Back to the Future.
Oh, you're right.
And Police Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
it is.
the
Yeah.
fucking. It's the two put together.
You're right about that. When the movie ended and I heard that song, I was like, did they just use Back to the Future in this movie? And then I'm like, oh no, it changed a little bit.
Yeah.
To Police Academy.
It's like that song where it goes, I'm going to go back in time. You know, they go, da, da,
Yeah, I
da.
did catch that.
Yeah.
I didn't think. Yeah, didn't register.
That's how this thing started. I'm like, where are we going from here?
So, yeah, he puts on those contacts, and that really pissed me off because I wear contacts, and I was like, no. You can't just have a box with dry contacts in it. You
It's
fucking
like an
just-
engagement ring box that it comes in.
Is this supposed to be a joke?
Well, that's what I said. This is a classic gag of the blind.
Classic gag.
The blind, googly-eyed pilot. You remember Hot Shots had the wall-eyed character that was the funny guy that couldn't fly. Now this guy is all freaking dorky and he has his eyes crossed. Then he puts these things on and they cut to like a hero shot and he's all pretty. Did you get that in the beginning of this movie?
What do you mean, classic gag of the googly-eyed pilot?
They did it in Hot Shots. They've always done it to where there's like a pilot that can't see.
It's the old googly-eyed pilot gag, you know, the old Mr. Magoo on an airplane.
Exactly. There you go. There's 1960 reference, Mr. Magoo.
So we cut to him flying the plane, right? And he's about to land at LAX. And then Ralph Malph, or Bobby, is here, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have a question for you. Is Bobby, like, training to be a pilot, too? Or is he just kind of...
Yeah, what is he doing in
What the
here?
fuck does he do
What
for
is
a
he
living?
doing? He's not sitting next to him.
Okay, I have to say, yeah, you're right. He's not the co-pilot.
No.
He's like, what is he, just training to be? He's like, well, apparently we got all this money in the 80s for flying, and they pay a guy to just look at lights flashing in the back of the cabin,
Yeah.
and he might do something. You know, just in case one of the pilots passes out, I'm there to also look at the controls.
He's kind of like an extra in like the early Star Trek where they just have him like pushing buttons and lights are flashing and
Maybe, yeah, he's running the weapons systems, you know. It really pissed me off, this whole character. And I gotta say, the characters in this movie are so paper thin. Oh my God. I mean, we're talking tissue paper thin. The only characteristics people have is... Well, they all have a new profession.
Right.
But the only characteristics they have are like, this is the fat person.
Right. It's all
This
surface.
is the rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
the
guy...
horny, ugly guy. This is the good-looking guy.
Yeah, this is the guy who can't see. This is the woman who wrestles. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. They never go beyond that.
no depth.
There's a love relationship, I guess. It kind of just fizzles out by the end of the movie and nothing
Yeah.
happens with it. They're like, well, you know, you put all these people together, two people gotta fuck eventually, right? Like, they gotta find something in common. But do they have anything in common? No, not really.
No.
She
No,
just
no.
spills coffee on him, and he's like, yeah, I guess I'd fuck you. We're trapped in this prison of a school. I might as well stick my dick in something. So we cut to him. He's flying this plane, right? He's flying into LAX at night, and Bobby is sitting in the back of the plane. He's like, "Hey, you gonna go to this party? You gonna go to this party?"
This guy won't shut the fuck up about this party and
And he's like, "I promised people you'd be there. All the broads want to see you. They want to see you." And he's like, "Yeah."
Why are you
yeah."
telling anybody I'm going to be there? Well, fuck, now I have to go.
And I'm like, I don't understand their dynamic. Are they friends, or what is going on?
it feels like a very fraternity-like relationship.
It seemed like the Bobby couldn't get laid without the good-looking pilot, so
see.
he's using him as
Exactly.
the opener.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, fine, fuck it, I'll show up for you.
But instead, he goes to land the plane, and then Bobby just hits him or something. Like, he runs into him, and then the controls go all over the place. And I think that Philo's contacts fly out or something.
Yeah, and he screams, my contacts, my contacts. Like, he fucking, the plane's going down.
And the plane's about to crash, and then I am not fucking joking. We pull a 9/11.
Oh,
the plane
literally.
goes right for a building. And I'm like, oh boy. If it cut to it and it said 2001, I was like, oh boy. Maybe that's why you can't find it on DVD, guys. You know,
A little too close to home, you know. A little too,
they had to remove that
too
scene,
soon.
you know. Too soon. Yeah. 16 years later. Not yet. We kept it on a shelf for a year and a half. We can keep it on the shelf for 30 more. You know. So but it's okay, guys, because it was all a simulator.
Yeah.
And so some guy walks in and he goes, "Congratulations, you assholes just wiped out half of Los Angeles." And I wrote, "I don't get it. Apparently, Philo can't see now, and the hit with the elbow was so hard that the contacts flew out." Like, I didn't know what happened.
The contacts flew out, they crashed the plane, and now they washed out completely somehow.
Yeah.
You fail one test, you're out.
That's what I was gonna say. So that's it. You
That's
get
it?
one chance. You
Yeah.
get one chance in pilot school. If you fail the simulator once, you're done.
How the
Yeah.
fuck do you learn to play? You land the plane.
And-
I'm going to land this plane. Fuck, I fucked up. All right, next person.
And how did he wipe out half of Los Angeles with just one plane to a building? I mean, it's not like...
Here we go. We got a truther over here. Chris, next you're going to be telling me jet fuel doesn't get that hot. You don't understand. There was bombs in that building. We just call you Chris Jones from now on.
It's the sound of my tinfoil hat rumbling in the background.
I did see, by the way, there was a Building 7 that got destroyed in that crash, but the plane wasn't anywhere near it. So
Oh.
who knows? So, okay, later we go to a hotel, I guess? Mm-hmm. So they're staying at a hotel. They don't even, like, have an apartment. Like, are they just... I don't understand.
Or is it a dorm?
I have no fucking clue on who these guys are. Like, so in the world that this movie inhabits, if you go to some sort of vocationary school, like if you're going to go to pilot training or stewardess training... I guess there's training for this. You have to, like, live there, too?
On campus.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
I'm like,
that.
I don't think people live at DeVry. That's just what I'm saying. I don't think they do. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, we could all be ignorant on
could
this.
have-
Did
they
the desk
have
just flip
dorms.
over to be cots at some point in the day? I mean, I don't get.
I don't know.
Somebody, one of those people that go to those colleges, they always show on Maury commercials. Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know if they make you sleep at the school. So they're at this hotel, which is a fancy hotel, by the way, for these two college boys. You know, these two pilot boys. What was Bobby training to be a pilot? We don't know because he's just given up. He's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. They never won. I don't even know. To tell you the truth, I don't know why I was there. They told me I was supposed to be sitting in that chair next to you, but
I'm not gonna help.
what are you gonna do? So he walks in. Bobby walks in dressed like Hugh Hefner around this party, right? He's wearing the smoking jacket and everything. And these girls, I think twins, right?
Yeah, they were twins. They were pretty ugly.
They keep asking. They're like, "Where's Philo? Where's Philo?" And he's like, you know, I'll find him. He's a popular guy, I guess, right? And I write, but wait until they see the glasses. Oh, of course that'll never come into play. Then we go into this elevator. Okay, now here's where I have a big problem with this movie. There are times in this movie where I laughed uncontrollably and I was ashamed of myself. And this was one of them, is that Bobby gets on this elevator with these old ladies who are complaining about things, and then they're like rich old ladies, right? And he just rips this fart in the middle of their conversation, and I don't know why, but I just couldn't stop laughing. For like a whole minute, I just was laughing my fucking ass off at this scene, and I don't know why.
It didn't register with me. I didn't
You
care
told
for
me
it.
you sighed, audibly sighed.
I sighed, yes.
I put haha. That's all you got. You got haha. Like this is where you're supposed to laugh.
And everybody gets out of the elevator like, oh, a fart.
The old lady faints. And then I actually, at that point, I go, what movie are we watching right now? Because we went from, we think they crashed a plane into the earth,
They pulled a 9/11.
to a simulation, to now we're in some building, and there's a party, and this guy's up and down the elevators farting. What movie is this?
Why are there like rich ladies in this? Like, I don't understand.
I don't even think we've gotten a
anything.
title screen. This is the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. You know what? I don't remember a title screen that said flight attendant
Or
whatever.
Stewardess School.
Flight attendants.
Whatever the fuck this movie is
Yeah,
called.
no, they're like, we can't even release it because Stewardess, you can't even use that word anymore. Apparently you can't. You can't go. You can't use the word stewardess.
Yeah.
They want to be called flight attendants now. You know.
Yeah.
You know the world we live in. So we go. Bobby knocks on the door and he goes into Milo's room. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's basically Milo's all pissed off because he's like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be a pilot anymore. Apparently, you fail once, and even though I've paid all that money, I'm out of school. Like they kicked me out of the school because you fucked up in the simulator. Not like anybody was watching and could have seen you, Bobby, hit the fucking controls and mess that thing up. It's all my fault, apparently." He's like, "Well, I think I'm gonna hang myself or something." And he's like, "No, it'll be okay."
Is that when something gets tossed out the window?
Oh god, I just want to fly.
So what? Milo goes to the window. He's like, "I just want to fly, George. You don't understand. I just want to fly."
I just gonna spread my wings and fly.
And then for some reason there is a recliner
Recliner.
so close to the window that it knocks him out and he flies out of a building, like out of the 20th story.
Yeah.
What's the famous song where it's about the kid that was acting like he was in the zoo or the circus and he flew out and his dad wrote a song about it?
Oh, you mean Eric Clapton?
Eric
Tears
Clapton.
in Heaven?
Yeah, it's like Tears in
Tears in
Heaven.
Heaven starts playing as Milo is flying down, and then he apparently lands into
Garbage.
he lands into like a dumpster full of chicken feathers because apparently, even though they're like in a really wealthy school, like a hotel, the bottom floor of this hotel is a chicken processing plant or something.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
Why are
weird.
there feathers?
I'm like, this movie it doesn't go full airplane. It's like that's what pisses me off about it. It's like it doesn't want to be some sort of spoof movie, but it delves into spoof movie territory, and it's like, well, you have to pick a world.
Yeah.
Either this is a cartoon world we're in, or it's the real world. You can't just go in and out willy-nilly like, oh, look at those fucking chickens. And it's like, no, it doesn't make sense because you're having real-world consequences and all these. Fuck this movie.
Thank you.
So George says he has this great idea, right? He
Yeah.
runs down and he's like, hey, I get this great idea. We'll go to Stewardess School. And I write, but aren't they in pilot school?
No, they're out. He just wants to be in the air, though. He wants to fly. He doesn't care how he flies. He can be a stewardess or a pilot.
I wrote, I mean, it's only 9/11.
We haven't gotten to the Pentagon yet.
That's the next simulator. They're like, all right, you guys are done. You guys are done.
He saves it with Flight 93.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the last one. The last straw was George took the controls from Philo at one point and pulled a 93. He's like, we're not going to kill anybody this time. All they heard on the black box was just, here we go, or something. Let's roll.
Oh God.
We're going to have to cut out so much of this episode. So we go to this mansion, right? And we watch as these two parents sit. Okay, this is a good part of this movie.
This is a good gag.
So we have the girl from Joysticks, right?
Yeah.
So she has these rich parents, and she's like a punk rocker girl, apparently.
Yeah.
Right? But the music she listens to later in the movie is...
Not punk rock.
No.
No.
She's like metal, I guess, but like real wuss metal, like Twisted Sister metal.
Like nitrous. Like. Nitro, that's the band.
So these rich people are just sitting there, right? Her parents, and they're watching this man that she's brought over to this house,
40-year-old biker
who looks like Dorfus from Joysticks, right? Mm-hmm. He looks like McDorfus, but yeah, like a 40-year-old biker guy, all burly and shit. And he's like got, like chicken, just shoving that chicken with bone and all into his mouth.
He was
just
disgusting. I loved it.
sucking off the bones.
How old would you say she looked, the punk rock girl? How old? I put 13.
Like 18.
I thought this was the fucking weirdest part of the movie for me. I'm like, there is a 13-year-old dating a 40-year-old, getting him beers, and the parents are just sitting there having dinner with them.
Yes.
It was so...
Because, okay, the biker guy's name is Snake, right?
Yeah.
And apparently he has the mental control over this 13-year-old girl where he goes, beer.
Like just one word. That's all it takes.
And she just runs off to go get him a beer. And then the parents are like, hey, while she's gone, the dad's like, I got a preposition for you, buddy. Go into that room over there. And he gets up and he opens the door and there's a brand new Harley. Mm-hmm. And he goes, it's all yours if you get her to go to school or something like that, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, basically they come out of the room. Like they go into the room and then they come out and he's got his hand around the dad and they're smoking cigars.
Well, he had
and
a
they're
great
laughing.
line when the door opens. He goes, "Holy shit!" He's like a mouthful of food. So.
And then she's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he's like, "Hey, you're gonna go to school, bitch."
Yeah, but that's all they say is school. So now we have the two guys that are going to Stewardess School. They've made that clear. Then you cut to this scene, and this 13-year-old's going to school. And I'm like,
13-year-old.
I'm like, you're
She
gonna send her
doesn't
back
look
to. They're gonna send her back to high school. I did not I didn't put it together that we were meeting the characters of the movie in this sequence of like, cut, here's the new one, cut,
Right.
here's the new
So
one.
you thought this was just a whole separate thread we're going to go down about a 13-year-old going back to high school?
I wrote subplot 13-year-old with 40-year-old somehow is going to fit into this movie.
This movie would have been fucking amazing if they had nothing to do with any of the other characters. It's this whole subplot, and like at the end, it ends up being the biker guy who's like the fucking terrorist or something. They needed the biker guy to go to the stewardess school.
Thank you. I was about to say that. He was my favorite character of the whole film, and he's barely in it.
He should have been in the stewardess school. And can you imagine how many fucking funny jokes there would have... Like, he should have been on parole.
He would have
And
been.
the parole officer's like, look, you need to find a profession or they're going to put you back in jail.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to go where all the other criminals go. Stewardess school. And he's like, all right, great. And then he goes in. Imagine him like trying to serve people drinks and shit. They're like, oh yeah, I'd like this. He's like, fuck you.
He's like the Belushi.
Yeah,
In a
it would have
way.
been great. That real messed up. He should have been in this movie much more than he is.
Agreed.
We do have a subplot of a 13-year-old going back to school to get her high school diploma.
No, fuck you. Okay, she's going to Stewardess School. I got it.
So then we go to an orchestra. This is the stupidest fucking one. Is that the girl who... I just call her Clumsy Girl, okay? She's just playing in an orchestra, and she's playing on the timpani drum, but then somehow she throws her mallet, and it lands in the conductor's mouth.
Ha ha.
And she
then
broke the piano.
She somehow falls onto the drum,
Yeah.
and then bounces like 40 feet in the air like a fucking trampoline and lands on the piano, and it breaks. And they're like, okay. Like... And I'm like, well, I guess she's done in the orchestra.
Yeah.
It's not like it's... from what I know, you don't just get... Well, maybe you would get fired in this case. That would be a big deal, I guess.
You want us to argue with you
This
about
is
the
what this is. But this
semantics of orchestra school?
Orchestra School. Yeah, she went to Orchestra School. The one thing that's really pissing me off already about this movie is like, and then I write this later. Okay, I'll get to it. Okay.
Okay.
The next thing we do is we go to a wrestling match.
New scene. Wrestling match.
Okay, so we're very confused. At this point, you're right, Hughes. I don't know who these people are. I'm assuming they're all going to converge onto the Stewardess School, but at this point, I don't know. I'm like, if this is a movie with 5 separate people, like it's some sort of Love Actually situation, and we're all gonna follow these fucking idiots around and find out where they go. I don't know. But we go to this wrestling match, right? And it's a ladies' wrestling match. And there's this big lady, Wanda.
It's a professional wrestling match, not like a Olympic or.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
It's professional.
It's pro wrestling.
Yeah,
okay.
like WWE.
Yeah. So there's this blonde lady who's really good. Everybody loves her, and her name's Wanda, right? And she's like happy because some guy who looks like Pee Wee Herman comes into the crowd, and he's like watching her. And then she's beating some lady up, and then she like looks back and he's gone.
Just the flowers are left
Because
that
he was
brought.
like scared.
And I was like, wait a
intimidated,
second.
yeah.
He dated a woman who's a wrestler, and he never knew what she did. Like he never asked that anybody. He's like, so what do you do? And she's like, well, I'm a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
And there's like, he's gonna propose to her or something because somebody's like, oh, he's gonna propose to me. I'm like, so he's never once seen you work? You're a pro wrestler. He's never
Yeah.
once been to your.
That's what I thought.
I had another question about this whole scene.
Yeah.
When did professional wrestling come out as being predetermined? When was like the Iron Sheik arrested and that whole thing started? Was it in the 80s or was it in the 70s?
Wrestling being predetermined? It's always been predetermined.
No, when did it come out as public knowledge? Because I want to say that this movie made it to where it wasn't public knowledge, so they took it as a different way than we would do it today.
I don't know. I think in the 80s, people kind of started to get it. Maybe the internet's what did it.
You have no idea. Like professional wrestling's been around for 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they only just in the last 30 have figured out that it's predetermined. People thought it was real to the point like.
But my question is with this Wanda character. So, okay, she's going to leave wrestling at this point because she realizes apparently if you're a female wrestler, no man's ever going to want you, which is a fucking joke. But what is she going to do? You would think like, okay, so she's going to go be a stewardess because she's going to find a guy, but she never once in the rest of the movie ever wants to talk to a man ever.
Nope.
So what is the point of her leaving her profession where she's already on top?
Right.
She was the number one person. Everybody's like, Wanda. When she walks out, she just is like, oh, fuck it. I'm done.
The one guy in my life who was gonna marry me after only seeing me work one night. I was dating for 2 years.
I was like, in a normal movie, the character would be like, I need to go and change myself so I could get him back or something. No.
thrown in the wind.
In fact, the rest of the movie, she'll just do pro wrestling moves on other people. I'm serious.
I know.
She uses her existing knowledge to her advantage, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I
fucking
write
bad.
in my notes at this point, I go, so everyone that goes to this school is just some sort of dropout from another profession.
Yeah.
Or a real fucking loser. And I write, so this really makes flight attendants look like a job for degenerates.
Basically, yeah, it's not really selling it really hard.
I mean, if anything, this is doing a disservice.
Exactly.
So we go to this car, okay? We're in front of this mansion thing. And, well, George and Philo are driving around, okay? Bobby and Philo. And
Why do you call him Bobby? I mean, George Funky is like, or Funkle is a great name for the character.
Because it literally is
Bobby.
Bobby.
No, it is Bobby.
It literally is Bobby. Like, the van tipped over. He didn't have any other options. His parents said, you got to go do something. He went to flight school. Blah, blah, blah. We're all going to discuss this at the end of the movie because this is obviously Bobby. Mm-hmm. This is obviously his character in 1986. But they were driving around in the car, and they keep calling this thing Stew School.
Because it's cool.
He's like, no, you don't get it, Philo. There's going to be so many broads there. It's going to be like, I don't even need the waterbed anymore. This is going to be great, you know. We're going to go. I'm going to bang this chick. I'm going to bang that chick. And I guess they just decide to go to school because there's all these women there. So their whole life plan is based around how can Bobby get laid, which is what I'd expect.
Yeah.
But then, so we get this whole fucking scene. Hughes, tell me.
Are you talking about the girl that walks into the street?
She like gets out of that cab and the door flies off and like
Oh, that's right.
she hits the guys in the nuts with the suitcase and it's the clumsy girl strikes again, right?
Yeah.
I was like, why does every 1980s girl have the body of a 20-year-old and the face of a 50-year-old?
Hughes. I don't even know how to respond to this. So we go to the Chancellor's office, right? And some lady is complaining. So like this mean lady is complaining to the Chancellor. She's like, you're lowering the standard of this school so that anyone can get in. And I write, wait, hold on a second. This is like the Harvard of, like, what do you need to get in
Like,
here?
what credentials, like, do you need, is it bloodline only?
I would think just a check.
I think
As
you
long
would-
as the check clears.
Bloodline is that thing that one girl had like her grandma, her
Yeah.
mom, and herself there.
Yeah.
3 generations of stewardesses.
But honestly, I think you just need a check. Like, as long as the check clears, and the criminal history. No, not even the criminal history.
No, because look who's in this.
So
Look who's in the running board.
yeah,
you know?
basically you just need a check. And apparently she's all upset because she's like, this is a real honorable profession, serving people peanuts. So we got to make sure that we only get the best of the best, but the best start coming. So I don't know. The Chancellor's almost like, well, Delta needs somebody. You know, that we can't just keep graduating one person and have this school be open. We got to take everybody's money. And I write, okay, so maybe they're trying to do like a police academy thing, but there's a big difference between being a police officer and being a flight attendant. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 1986 there was a real stringent requirements for being a flight attendant, but I don't believe so. So I mean I could be wrong.
Yeah, anyone who else out there who was a flight attendant, let us know. In that era, it's doubtful.
Yeah, you know, a big sub-listening audience to the Grindbin is flight attendants from the 80s.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they make up the core of our audience, Chris.
Shut up.
Them and the French.
The French. Oh, I have a thing about the French.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
we will get to the French by the end of this. You wouldn't believe how the French have affected Chris's life.
Yeah.
So then we go to, okay, now this is where we said it doesn't even matter if you're a criminal, because we go to a hooker named Sugar, okay? Now, apparently, she's being dropped off by her parole officer to attend this stewardess school.
Right.
But Hughes, you were telling me you don't think it's a parole officer.
No, I think it's her pimp.
I thought so too.
I immediately like that.
Yeah,
I
I said
mean,
pimp.
Apparently, this is her parole officer, and he's like, well, you can't turn tricks anymore. And I write, well, it's a horrible idea to have her fly around the world for a job and stay in random cities and meet random men constantly. That is a horrible idea. Literally the worst idea possible for somebody who's been arrested and being a hooker is say, like, you know what? Why don't you go meet a new man every night?
Strangely enough, this is the point in the movie where I figured out that they were meeting all the new people that were going to follow through the movie.
This is when you finally figured
like
you were
right
like,
when we
oh,
got to the
this all
prostitute.
connects.
It's all connected.
But I read at this point that having a hooker become a flight attendant is like having a drunk work at a brewery.
Right.
I mean, you're asking for trouble. Well, don't you think it'd be like maybe we should have her go work somewhere where she doesn't interact with strangers every day and stay at a hotel every night?
Right.
Just a thought, right? Or maybe he's like, out of sight, out of mind, you know? She commits a crime in Illinois. It's not my deal. She can deal with the parole officers over there, you know? Also, aren't you not allowed to leave the state if you're on parole?
Actually, that's true.
That's actually true.
Let alone go on Spaghetti Air or wherever the fuck this thing is. So,
Gisolino Airlines.
Gisolino Airlines, yeah. So we go, yeah, she's not even allowed to leave the state. He's just obviously like, just get her out of here. Do you think they had to kick her out of jail because she was sucking too many dicks? Like, do you think that everywhere this woman goes, she cannot turn it off?
Men cannot resist her.
And she can't resist men. Literally every man except for Bobby, who you think that could have been something.
Yeah, why was
know?
that not something?
He could have been like, ooh, and like this is like his dream girl. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like she never turns it off. Neither does he. They can fuck like jackrabbits.
That could be like a gag, like the plane's going up and down, bobbing. You know.
Like he's trying to serve drinks, and you just see he's just shaking, and somebody's like, "What do you got at the bottom of that card?" He's like, "No."
Or it's just like, coming right up.
You want cream in that coffee? Hey. So we go to the school sign-ups, right? And this is where they're obviously getting the checks, getting cashier's checks from everybody that walked in, because that's the only thing you need to get in this school is that cashier's check.
And a heartbeat.
And a waiver signed. A cashier's check, a heartbeat, and a waiver, yeah. And then some guy walks in and he's all happy, which we'll never see this fucking guy again, by the way.
I think we see him one more time.
We do?
Yeah.
I swear to God, you never see this guy again. He just walks in, he goes, "Am I the only boy?" But I wrote, they should send this man home. Like, they should have been like, no, your cashier's check is no good. Actually, wait, no, give us that check. Thank you, I'll stamp it. Go ahead and deposit that. No, sir, I'm sorry, you're going to have to leave. But we're keeping the deposit. And then, so the girl from Joysticks and the bikers show up. And this part...
Oh, God. This is absolutely my favorite scene in the whole film. Like, I got good laughs out of it. Because they pull up on this bike, and she says her name, and they're, like, kind of taking back the women at the reception, like, oh, you know, this floor. And he rides the bike through the building, up the stairs, down the hall, like, full rev. It was, like, the greatest thing ever.
Like a one-shot scene, too. It was all actually written.
Yeah, he
great.
goes up the stairs and he goes... And he's driving through the hallways and doing like fucking donuts on his way out and everything, hitting over plants.
See, the part where they let me down, though, however, is on his exit, where he goes down the stairs. There's a big, big bay window at the end of the hall. Yes. If he rode through that, I would have died. I would have been like, okay, this movie has officially won me over.
But they didn't. And they were like, yeah, fuck you. You're back in the fucking night patrol pile. And, okay, I do like that, though. She just, when he drops her off, she turns to him, the 13-year-old girl, 13-year-old punk rocker, looks at him and she goes, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you. And he just looks at her and he burps in her face. Then he does the donuts. So, like, he's facing the correct direction, I believe, and he still just does donuts and does, like, he's leaving marks in the carpet and everything. And then he drives out that bay window. So Marty McFly Sisters showed up. Apparently they did. Crispin Glover told her she needs to go get a job. And she just, like, for some reason she runs out of one room and then runs into another.
Yeah, I put, like, she's sneaking into these other rooms and there's sitcom music in the background. It's very weird.
And then Betty from Revenge of the Nerds is in this room, okay? Who got raped by that nerd guy at the end of that movie.
That was actually her.
Yeah, the girl who got raped by Darth Vader in the bounce castle.
Oh, yeah.
And then was like, oh, actually, I kind of liked it.
That was a weird movie, man.
Back in the 80s, in movies, you would just rape a woman and then she'd fall for you.
If you were good enough, yes.
It was like, well, no. You get it in first.
Right.
And then she'll come around.
Right. Instead of chivalry, it's called chivalry.
That was the way you courted a woman.
Yeah.
That's why Cosby doesn't know why the hell everybody's complaining so much. He's like, I thought I was supposed to fuck her first. You can spoon and do the pudding. Don't tell Camille. I swear to God, in court, he goes, I don't just go buy a Ferrari, I gotta test drive it.
My God.
They were like, that is not a defense, Cosby. Mr. Cosby, that is not a defense. Can we please strike that from the record? That's his own lawyer saying that. His own lawyer stands up and goes, no. He did not say that. He did not say that. I think he took some of his own pills. Oh, what? No, strike that too. Get it all out of here. Get it all out.
Wheel him out.
So she's coming in and, like, the girl from Revenge of the Nerds is there, and she's, like, dressed in all pink, and like you said, Hughes, it's 3 generations of flight attendants. And they sing some sort of song. Maybe that's the song that he wrote.
No, it's not. But fucking the harmony, it was
I
terrible.
don't know. They sing some sort of, like, nursery rhyme to each other.
Oh, yeah.
It was off key. It was bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why they even put it in.
We'll wine you, we'll dine you, we'll fly you to the stars.
But I wrote at this point, I go, there are too many characters to remember. Like, I was thinking at this point, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to remember any of these people because they're all going to, like, have some sort of characterization beyond what I've just seen. No.
I don't think we're 20 minutes in. So that's like, we've gotten 3 minutes per character.
That's why at the beginning of this movie, I'm writing like, oh my God, there's so many fucking people in this movie. Like, please stop. We have enough.
They're like, but we need to get the gay guy in there somehow. So
yeah, that guy just shows up at some point.
Out of nowhere.
Or wait, was that the guy?
That was the guy.
That was the guy who shows up and goes, am I the only boy here?
That was
not the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it
he
was.
looks like the main character.
That's right.
So you get him confused.
Yeah, at
but he
this
talks
point-
with the lisp.
At this
Or
point,
he talks not a little lisp, but he
Right.
flamboyantly.
The
if
lucky
you-
lisp.
if everybody's wondering what happened to our main characters, We don't know either. At this point, they've disappeared for the past 10 minutes. I honestly think it would have been okay if I would have wanted to see maybe like Jolene open a door and Bobby's just sitting there jacking off. And he's like, oh, it's taken. Actually, wait, come in. And Philo's sitting there reading a book while he's just banging in the corner.
He's just fucking.
I'll be done in a minute, Philo.
He's sitting there just fucking slamming ham.
Just slamming ham in the corner.
Jesus.
Then we go to the welcome orientation, okay? And then that mean lady. So the mean lady who's the taskmaster.
Miss Grummet?
Ilsa of the flight attendant school, okay? So Ilsa of the school, she's talking to the students. She's like, hey, I'm a real jerk. But here's the Chancellor. And then Sugar, the hooker, sees this Chancellor and she's like, I have not been fucked in 10 minutes. And her only characterization is, if there's not a penis within 20 feet of me, I need to get one.
Yeah. Give me the Duke. Is basically her mantra.
She is like what I'm saying. That like Bobby is a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just like constantly got her dick radar on, just like.
She's a Bobette.
They should have called her Bobette. So she's like licking her lips at this guy, and this is where it gets really fucking weird. The Chancellor's trying to give a speech in front of these students, and I guess that the hooker forgets that she's in an auditorium.
It's just her and him.
She just like starts grabbing her boobs, and then she like drops something on the ground, is like picking it up and like showing off showing her ass to everybody.
Everybody on stage can see everything she's doing.
Everybody on stage, and then all the other students are just sitting there looking up like nothing else is going on in this room.
Why are they just not talking anymore?
Nobody. You see Bobby, he's going tick, 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 pounding ham, as you say.
Slamming ham
in the front row. That would have been so funny if she went to drop something. He goes, oh no, I got it for you. And he just kind of slides himself under her.
It's on his back.
You just see him on his back slide under a row of chairs and out front, and you just see like a tent pitched right in front of her.
Well, as he slides under each row, you see each row of people like jump up and go as he goes under them.
So she's just pretty much giving a striptease in the middle of this auditorium, and nobody notices, right?
You got to call this out as a twist on the Police Academy gag of where they put the prostitute in the podium and she was giving the guy head while he's trying to give a speech.
Yeah.
Now they just put this girl out there showing her hooch.
They're like, well, we can't copy Police Academy too much, but get her to show some ass. Well. I really like that scene, and I can't copy it exactly, but I do want to copy it kind of. So this is how they should have done it, right? And he's all messing up. He's like, sees her boobs. He's like, oh, a nipple and dime.
I was hired behind on your work. They won't be hard on you.
Okay, oh my God. He just wrote them all down. But when she bends over, I write, okay, so he either has a stroke or just can't handle himself, because he just starts going like, hop, 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 and then he just kind of just walks away. And then the mean lady comes up, and he goes, no, I can't sit down until you're done.
And
like the Chancellor won't move because he's apparently got a boner, and he's like, no, I'm going to stand right here.
And the mean head lady was like disgusted. She's like, oh, this is gross.
Yeah, like Ilsa goes up to the lectern, and then he stands behind her. And like you were saying, like he goes under the rose. Yeah. He pokes her, and she goes, hey.
She got a big old smile on her face right after that.
Wait, hold on. There was that part when Ilsa is trying to, like, she does her Nazi experiment in her room?
That's later in the film, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll never reference that again.
No, it just shows up.
I just remembered that's a scene in this movie. I'm like, wait a second.
Remember she had the guy.
Yeah.
The pilot was like her.
And also I was like, why is there a pilot at this school?
Well, I think it's supposed to be like a ripoff of a Mel Brooks scene from another movie.
They just rip it left and right. Like anything. They just...
Right.
Like the guy over at Columbia is like, get me every famous comedy in the past 3 years, cut about 5 minutes out of each one, and make me a 90-minute movie with it. And then we're just gonna. I just want to see them. I just want to see the jokes. Okay, just give me the jokes. And they're just rapid firing. He's like this, like this, like this, and he's just telling different people to write them. And you get another cocktail napkin of a movie.
Basically, sir, we don't have a plot. I don't know where this is going. It's just joke after joke.
If people are laughing, and there's nothing better than people getting boners and people laughing.
People getting head.
They want look. If the audience member's getting hard, and then he's getting soft from laughter, and then he gets hard again, that's a movie, son. That is a movie.
We're almost 25 minutes in this movie. There is nothing to get hard over. There's no boobs. There's no titillation.
Well, this is that's what I'm saying. This old lady bending over, giving a show. She's okay. So we go to the cafeteria.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
We go to the cafeteria, right? And so Bobby is now wearing a fedora and looking like a creep, and he's getting food and he's complaining about it. And
Well, it
I'm
looked
like,
kind of gross.
Jesus Christ! Here we go. Now we even got like they're complaining about the food and everything. It's just shut the fuck up.
Did you notice the
Go
price
get
on the
Subway.
Like $3.75 or
like
$3.25?
$3.50? I'm like, this is 1980 something.
That's
I would think that's pretty expensive for lunch.
That's a lot.
1986? Yeah, that might be actually. Maybe that's why he was complaining.
I would be pissed too. It looked like shit.
So he sits down at this table with a woman, and then she immediately leaves. Why he doesn't seek out the hooker, I don't know.
No.
But that was the clumsy girl that he sat with, right?
No.
No?
The clumsy girl then walks through the cafeteria, and she falls. Well, she goes to sit with Philo, but then she just pours food all over him, and then they meet. Then apparently we just go to some Chancellor. Like the Chancellor has his own private dinner hall, like a giant, I don't know, some sort of fancy table in this mansion where he eats his dinners with the mean lady, with Ilsa. And they're just sitting there, and she's like, hey, we need to get rid of these bad students. And I write, I guess she doesn't like money because this is a fucking school about making money.
They've been in there for, one speech and lunch. Get them out.
Yeah, no, these people are real fucking idiots. And it's like, hey, do you like working here? Do you like having a job? Do you want a raise at the end of the year? Then shut
the fuck up.
Yeah, shut the fuck up and graduate these people, you fucking idiot.
That's the whole point, is they're trying to wash you out. They want to weed out the people that suck. There you go. And weed him out.
Yeah, and then keep their deposits.
Yeah.
So then we go to the morning, right? And I mean, so Ilsa pulls a fire alarm and wakes everybody up, and Bobby runs down the hall of those boxers screaming fire.
Did you understand what the ear tassels? Those are the weirdest earplugs
I didn't
I've
get
ever
why
seen.
those were there.
Wait, I'm sorry. He had earplugs that were tassels?
Tassels. They were tassels.
Like he stuck a stripper's tassel in his ear.
Yeah. He's running around looking like
This is
stripper nipples out of his ears.
This is obviously some burlesque scene that we didn't get.
That's in the cut. Yeah. The 100.
Like some lady was doing some lady with the 170-minute cut of Stewardess School.
Yeah.
Some lady was doing the tassel thing, and somehow it flew into his ears, and then
It was off-putting. Like, why did he have to have... First off, why did they have to have that whole thing? He's blinded, and he has the earplugs in there. He just didn't hear the alarm. That was the whole gag.
Yeah.
And just make it look funny, because they're weird-looking earplugs.
Oh, okay. You know what? We're wrong. This is where Bobby does try to pursue the hooker, because he finds out that, like, okay, so Ilsa pulled that alarm, and everybody's like, all right, just go back to your room and get ready for the day. They could have just told everybody to get ready, but apparently being a stewardess is a very important job. Then you need to pull a fire alarm to wake people up.
You need to always be ready.
Yeah, you couldn't just say everybody, out by 7 a.m.
Yeah.
You gotta put the fear.
Put the fear of God in him.
Fear of God in him. Like the plane's gonna crash or something. You gotta be fucking ready. He does pursue the hooker. He tries to go to her room and she shuts the door, and I'm like, he can't even get the attention of the horniest woman alive.
That's like a genie situation with the director of the cheerleaders. It was
Yeah. You know what? At this point, I was thinking Bobby should just go to his room and pull a carotene. Like, I'm serious.
Like a full carotene or just a half?
No, a full. He should just hang
wow.
himself while jacking off. Like, he should just be done with it. He's obviously never going to be happy. I mean, it's not going to work out for this guy. So we go onto the field, and I write, wait a second, they make them run?
Yeah, why are they doing, like...
Not only that, they have the regular normies that are already running, and then she's going to sit there and berate the weirdos, the misfits they want to kick out. And it's Police Academy scene. It is the Police Academy scene.
I was just like, this isn't Police Academy, no. They don't run. I was like, do they understand this is not Police Academy, this movie? Did they forget what movie they were doing? At some point, they're like, oh, wait, why the fuck did we spend 3 days filming them running? We forgot they're just serving peanuts. What were we doing? By the way, there's not much running involved in being a flight attendant, if any at all.
No.
Like, literally no running on the job.
I
Like,
was
if
waiting
anything-
for the target practice scene.
If anything, they would have said, don't run on the plane. All right, everybody get your running out before you get the job, okay? Because once you get the job, you're never going to run again.
Yeah.
You will never run
Get it out of
again.
your fucking systems now.
And I'm like, they really forgot what movie they were making. And then we go to physicals. To be a fucking flight attendant. The only thing you need to know is, I guess, do you have a bad enough heart where you're going to,
Deep
basically
vein
have
thrombosis.
have some sort of thrombosis on the plane. But no, they're like, so they're in this physical thing. It's Sugar, the hooker, and Jolene.
But
And-
they're there for two different things. Jolene is the chubby girl that they call the fat girl, and she needs a physical. But Sugar Dubois needs an STD check, because somehow an STD check, if you have an STD, you can't be a stewardess.
But I was like, okay, well, come on. That is a stretch. That is a fucking stretch. So what, did they do that on purpose? So you're like, no. Hey, passengers, just so you know, you can sleep with any one of them. Okay, they're all clean. We've all verified it. You won't catch crabs from Delta, that's for fucking sure. And you will not get AIDS from American. You can rest assured that if you fuck somebody that works for this airline, you will not get an STD unless they caught it after school.
This is for
However,
people.
if it was Alaskan, you're on your own.
Yeah, fucking Alaska. You better watch your fucking... And JetBlue, they're not part of the union. It's like goddamn Russian roulette on there, right?
Yeah.
One in every 4 people...
The cleanest airline, though, is Virgin.
Oh,
He was just sitting by his mic, just ready. He was just ready to bust that one out.
leaning in closer and closer.
He's eating the goddamn cover on his mic, waiting to drop that bomb. Oh, okay. So apparently, this is where we learned that apparently Jolene is fat, and I write, but they didn't hire a fat lady. She just looks like a normal lady. I was like, if Jolene is fat, I was like looking at myself like, oh my God, what have I become? I'm a fucking monster.
You wash yourself with a rag on a stick.
I was like, I wear a medium shirt. What happened to me?
Yeah, you're terminal now.
Did you notice when they walk into the doctor's office, like the receptionist is like, oh, I've never seen
she's
two
like-
people that look like this ever.
She's like, I've never seen such a fucking crab-riddled lady and this is the fattest woman that's ever fucking walked into this place. How dare you? How fucking dare you?
Plane will never take off.
You're never gonna get past this fucking thing. Yeah, you're gonna have to fucking pull luggage out of this plane to get your ass in the air.
Yeah.
It's like, for fuck's sake. Yeah, she's being a real bitch. You're right. The receptionist is like, well, we'll never see you guys again. Thanks for the money.
Yeah.
You fucking idiots.
Yeah.
So then Sugar goes into the office, and I guess she just kind of gets naked.
Well, she has the sex music is cued the second she's called.
Like a cartoon character.
Yeah, and I go like, perhaps she's gonna pass this physical on her knees, and that
And yeah,
and that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, she does.
Pretty much.
Like, she will not, the only man she will not look at is Bobby.
It's so strange.
But this doctor who's like a fucking Nazi doctor, like the guy in his like 70s.
Gonna take off her legs.
She's like, oh, I'll give this guy a blowjob.
Well, she says, I hope you don't have cold hands.
And he, I think he goes, there's a cream for that, so I'm okay, you know. What's a little scratch in the morning?
And I think that is the first boobs of the movie.
Oh, there's boobs in this movie? I didn't even
this is
notice
the
that.
first one, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, have them at the ready. Fist at the ready.
Pounding ham. Slamming ham, right? Slamming ham.
Slam that ham.
The old 5-knuckle shuffle. She blows that doctor, and then Jolene goes in the office, and this is where I also had a real big problem. Is so like Sugar comes out of that office, she's like, "Oh, I passed. It's okay. You can be a flight attendant and have crabs." And then Jolene goes in the office, and I write, "Why are there gynecology stirrups?"
Wait, did you say that?
Yes,
I missed that.
This table has stirrups on it. Like he's looking like, well, what type of physical is this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, why would you ever need that? Why would you ever need that?
You can't be pregnant and be a stewardess.
I have a friend who's a flight attendant for an airline. I'm going to ask her if they ever put her in stirrups.
I'm not kidding. If you look at, she walks by it like kind of gives it a look like, oh my god. And then he looks at her and he goes, well, you're too big to fit on that table, you fucking land whale, you. I'm serious. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, I did not see this scene.
No, she walks by these stirrups, which was very off-putting to me. I was like, this school, I got a lot of problems. And she goes into the doctor. He's all fucked out, right? So it's like the cheerleaders got him.
Yeah.
Maybe Sugar actually went to Amorosa High, you know?
Anal Rosa.
Anal Rosa.
And she's like, oh, what do I got to do? And he's like, you passed. And she's like, yes, this is the only way I'll ever pass. She gets on the scale and it just breaks, you know? And they're like, oh my God, it doesn't even go up to that weight. And then Jolie does call the receptionist a bitch on her way
She
out.
walks away. I'm like, I guess you can just do that.
No reprimand.
She's like, thanks a lot, bitch.
I love it.
So then we go to Philo, and he's not wearing his glasses, and he accidentally walks into the woman's bathroom. And this is also what kind of bugged me, is so he walks in, and then the clumsy girl, like, they're all like, oh my God, a man's in here. And she goes, oh no, it's okay, he can't see.
Yeah.
Because he's like blind without his glasses. And I'm like, well, that works real well for him. So he could just pretend he doesn't have his contacts in all the time. Oh, yeah, you know. And instead of like pushing him towards the right bathroom, they're just like, well, here, Philo, you can just shower in
Clothes
here.
are already off, you know?
He can't see any of us girls. It all looks like, the Spice Channel on.
When you flick back and forth.
Yeah. He can't see it. And then George, so Bobby's watching. He's like, well, I didn't know it was that easy. Oh, no, he says something like there's co-ed.
Yeah, co-ed showers. Yeah.
And I'm like, it clearly says women on the door. But he's like, yeah, co-ed, baby. Oh, and so he tries to go in, and then Wanda throws him out of the room like a wrestler.
Like literally.
I would have
over his
liked
head.
more wrestling moves, like if she maybe rammed his head through the door, or maybe she found a steel chair in that bathroom.
Well,
That would have been awesome.
yeah, and she just bullies him out and then throws him. Okay, cool. Done.
Yeah.
Like, that was the whole joke.
And then we go to Ilsa. Yeah, okay, so she's drinking heavily in the day, and then she just pulls out Polaroids of the degenerates and puts them on one side of the board, like, well, I'll kick them all out of here eventually. And the one we see is Bobby, who she's like, well, I might put this one in a special pile of call the police, because if a woman wakes up and says, I feel like I was violated, we know who it is. Yeah. We obviously know who it is. He either did it with his own or with the thing he brought to school with him, which we will get to in a scene coming up very quickly. And then say we go to this pizza party. So the gang's all like, okay, all the misfits are going to have a pizza party, right?
I think you missed the part with the pilot giving the speech.
I didn't even write it down.
Oh, there's a pilot giving speech to the women.
Jesus.
The women swoon. So does Philo, because he loves pilots. Subpilot of lady drinking and getting people kicked out.
Yeah, see, I just skipped over it.
Flamboyant gay guy brings pizza. Where has he been the whole time?
Yeah, so the token gay character, because, it's 1980 and the worst thing you could be in the world is being gay, which we've covered in many movies before. At least nobody does, like, at least there's no, like, gay fear in this movie. Like in Jocks, where they're like, oh my God, if one of them touches a tennis ball, it might travel down to my own testicles and make me gay. At least there's no point in this movie where a passenger on the plane says, well, I can't have that man serve me a drink because he might put the gay in it. Would you stir it with your dick?
Yeah, basically.
I thought this was a very sincere part of the movie. They're having a heart-to-heart over pizza where everybody's recognizing their flaws.
You're giving it too much credit.
God.
Then
Too
when in
much
doubt,
credit.
whip it out is somehow uttered.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that part.
Yeah, wait, what was that about? Like, okay, so basically all these people are sitting here and Jolene won't eat because she's like, I'm so large of a person, I can't have a slice of pizza.
And that, yeah.
It's like, okay. There is, though, the part when the girl from Revenge of the Nerds says that when people get to know her long enough, they all want to choke her.
She was very self-aware of how annoying she was.
They all want to pull the carotene on me. George should have had a thing like that. He's like, I'll be choking some tonight, But instead, George just randomly says,
When in doubt, whip it out.
but what was it in
I don't know the
context?
context.
There's no...
Do you think, like, when they called cut, they were just fucking rolling, laughing, going like, oh my God, you got him.
This is so good to not sit on a shelf for a year and a half.
Okay, the next scene of this movie, I just write in all capital letters for the setting of it, what? With a big question mark.
I have the quote-unquote fat girl is sniffing the air, walking through the building into the kitchen.
Well, you see it as just a flashlight at first. Like a flashlight going around. It's set up like some sort of Jason thing. Like you're going to get the old...
That would have saved this movie.
The old shit in the shower, head in the shitter scenario. But instead, you're right. It's this land whale of a woman, all 100 pounds of her, sniffing the air. And then here's, what does she find?
Well,
with
first
that magic nose of hers.
Well, much like when she's looking for truffles, she oinks when she finds something.
I can't believe they made her oink.
I know.
They're so
Could
bad.
you imagine being this actress and being like, well...
Well, I'll be the fat girl that oinks and finds cake in the refrigerator. Because that's exactly what she
just
did.
read the script and she's like, I'd like to go for this character. Like, well, we're thinking of you for the Jolene because, girl, trust me, you got a little meat on you,
Oh,
She's like,
God.
but this character's written as 300 pounds and
Well, you're no Kelly Johnson.
can you put on a little bit more?
It's called the chicken skin diet.
So yeah, she opens the fridge and finds a giant cake, and like you said, he was like a truffle finding pig. She
Oinks.
and I just write, what?
It's, this was another cocktail napkin
But it was
gag.
so weird. Yeah, it was just this 30-second scene thrown in after something that was supposed to be a heart-to-heart and sincere. 30-second scene, bam, right to another scene with no setup.
This is
No setup whatsoever.
This is definitely a cocktail napkin curse. It's just the producers noted. No. There's got to be a part in this movie where somebody told me this joke yesterday that was so funny about a fat girl walking around and somehow she can find a cake with her nose and then she oinks when she finds it. You got to put that in the movie. Can you put that in the movie? And the director's like, well, I guess we can. I will pay $2 extra million out of this $6 million budget movie to go reshoot that scene for me. Please, I need a fat girl to sniff out a cake. They call her back. Like, they call her from the reason she's not in Back to the Future 2 is because she was contractually obligated to do this reshoot scene for Stewardess School. And Zemeckis is asking her, he's like, well, why can't you come back? We'd really like you to meet Marty's sister again. She's like, I don't even want to explain what I have to do. It's like, no, why? You can tell me. She's like, I have to sniff around and find a cake in a fridge. Oh, that's you? Oh, my God. That's hilarious. Actually, I was thinking of doing that in Back to the Future, too. But I guess Stewardess School is going to take our gag, so what are we going to do?
Dog find a love story, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we'll have Dog fucking old lady.
The strongest of the films.
Yeah. Do you think that the guy just ran to the room and goes, I had the craziest thing. I heard that they get truffles by getting the pigs to sniff them out. Do you think a fat woman can smell a cake? Like, in this world, there's just fat women walking down the street just going...
No, it's just in the air.
They have to chain up cake stores at night because they're afraid they're going to just break in and just fucking...
Yeah.
Like, if you went to a cake store at night that wasn't chained up, you would see an orgy of overweight people just slopping around on the cakes.
It looked like a Apple store before an iPhone, unveiling.
Can we ask what the cake was for? Like, it's a pretty big, expensive cake.
There's no reference to this cake. We have multiple movies where cakes appear and have really no purpose. In Bronx Warriors, there's literally a 6-foot long cake. In Switchblade Sisters, they're like, we won the gang war. Let's make a cake. And in this movie, they're like, a fat girl will sniff a cake. Like a fucking hog sniffing truffles.
It's fucking awful.
I never thought of that comparison, but that's clearly what they were going for. It's just fucking terrible. So we go into this plane, right? And the students are in like a test, and all sorts of hijinks happen. At one point, a kid pulls out a toy gun on the girl from Revenge of the Nerds and says something like, he says he's going to shoot her tits off. And I
Yeah.
write, very classy. Okay, ma'am, ma'am, come over here. Now, we really love Little Billy in the movie, okay? We love how he dressed up like a little cowboy, everything like that. Now, ma'am, do you mind... Now, this is really funny. A buddy of mine thought this would be really funny. Can we have your son say the word tits? He just slips her an extra 50.
Yeah, not even.
She goes, perfect.
It's like a fucking Lincoln. Are you kidding me? Come on.
A Lincoln. He slips her $5. And she just pockets it and goes, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Have him say fuck. I don't care.
You laugh, but they do ask the parents if they have any problems with it.
Yeah,
I had an Italian dinner.
Why would he say tits? Well, he's actually gonna pull the gun out and he's gonna shoot your tits off. I heard it last night. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
On the way home from the studio.
So here, let me interject a story. I am, I don't know, around 10 or 11 years old. I'm in the LA City Choir, and we are shooting for Face Off in
tits off
in the LA Convention Center. That is the part where Nicolas Cage comes to the 13-year-old daughter of John Travolta and molests her in his priest outfit.
He sticks the hand up
Yeah.
the outfit.
They had to get permission from all of our parents to allow us to be there because it was all in front of us.
Could you imagine that girl's parents? They go, are her parents here? Ma'am, you have a very attractive... Maybe I should start this conversation a little different. Ma'am, your daughter is very proper. Nicholas has taken a liking to her. We're wondering, how do you feel about him putting the hand up the skirt? It's just for the movie. It'll only be for a second. Mr. Wu over there thinks it'll be a great... He's from China. They do things differently over there.
You ever been on their subway? I'll tell you.
Over there, it's almost like a compliment.
It's like a below the waist high five.
You know how these foreigners are, am I right? But for now, they're here, they're making movies, they want to grab a 13-year-old's ass. What are we going to do? It's Hollywood, baby. Then we see, okay, now this, Chris, you said earlier that was your favorite scene in the movie. This is my favorite scene in the movie. I did get a legit laugh out of it because this is literally the worst joke I've ever seen in my life. The token gay man is asked by a female a passenger. She says something like, can you fix my seatbelt?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, sure, stand up. And she's all, no.
I didn't pay to stand. I paid to sit.
I paid to sit. It's like, well, I hope you don't have to go to the bathroom.
I can't believe you missed the entire fucking setup of that little kid.
What do you mean setup?
There was a
setup
full
to the
setup
shoot?
for that. I caught back up in my notes on where we were.
Okay.
Back to the kid. She's wheeling the cart down. By the way, is this fucking airplane in the air? Are these people paid actors?
No. This is like no. This is just on the ground.
Yeah, they're just gonna sit there. These aren't flight. It's fucking weird situation to begin with.
Everybody
right?
acts like they're on a runway in China and they've been there for 3 hours in the plane because they're all like exasperated and upset about everything. They walk on 5 minutes and then they're like, we're just gonna have a class run through here. Like, I mean, they're getting paid to be there, obviously, but they all act like, oh, I'm on a flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we go to the Revenge of the Nerds girl. She's pushing the cart down. She gets the little boy.
Yeah.
And she goes, how would you like
the sundae.
How would you like a sundae? How would the little man like a hot fudge sundae? And he goes, sure. And she reaches in. She has this fucking hot fudge sundae ready to go. And as she's saying it to me, she goes, how would you like your nuts crushed? And he goes, how would you like your tits shot off? That's the whole fucking setup.
That's horrible. That didn't help the scene at all.
No, it was fucking disgusting, terrible humor. But you're just, tits shot off, whatever. No, there was a setup. There was a fucking script that this thing went all the way through.
You are defending this movie like I've never seen. I feel like when we get to the recommendation part, I'm going to be shocked at your answer. But this is the best scene of the movie, in my opinion. So the token gay guy goes down to help that woman as she won't get out of her seat. She will piss in that. She will shit in that seat if she has to and make them clean it up because she didn't fucking pay to stand. All right. In fact, they're paying her to sit, but she won't fucking stand up. And she's like, no, you need to fix my seatbelt. And apparently in order to fix her seatbelt, he needs to go under her
dress.
In her dress. Not like lift it all the way up. He goes in the dress, which I don't understand how you're going to, like, where's your seatbelt sticking out of? Like, Did she? Maybe he should have been like, ma'am, it would be, you aren't supposed to stick the seatbelt inside of yourself. Like,
He's got it wrapped around. It's around a fallopian tube.
yeah.
And
Here's the problem. Well, here's the problem right now. You stuck the belt up your puss. Sorry.
Did you hear when he got first down there? It started to echo.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
did
in
not
there.
notice that there's an echo. But this is amazing. So there's a serial ass grabber on this plane, okay? Which, if this is honestly a test, did they tell this guy, they're like, okay, you're going to grab a bunch of asses. And he's like, well, I was going to do that anyway. And they're like, well, good, we found the right guy. What do you think that classified ad was like? We need a man who's not afraid to grab strangers' asses. So this guy, he grabs this girl's ass, right? The clumsy girl, I believe. And she's pulling the cart, and she rams into the back of the gay man while he's under that dress. The sound effects are insane, but apparently this man, it does like a reverse birth. And I guess his head literally goes up a woman.
Yeah.
And I did laugh because I was like, this is too far. Like, a man has literally gotten his head shoved up into a woman's vagina on this.
With full sound effects.
And he gets pulled out, and there's this like squish sound. And he's all horrified because he's like, oh, I'm gay. I'm like, my God. And then, so basically this all ends. All the hijinks and this plane ends with Wanda getting her ass grabbed by the serial ass grabber. And she just
She put him through the plane or something.
Oh, she puts him through the roof of the
Yeah.
plane, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, he did have it coming.
Yeah,
Well, there's a whole point where the Chancellor's like, you need to be nicer
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the people. Because she's like, I guess the way that Wanda's a flight attendant is honestly probably the best way to be a flight attendant, is she just walks up to people and she's like, no, you're not going to get a fucking pillow. Go to sleep, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
You want another bag of peanuts? Yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm like, that is what you
That's
need.
how you do it. I would definitely fly that airline.
Well, I never ask him for anything. you
No,
know?
neither do I.
But it would be so great if you see Hughes. He's like, can I get a blanket?
Can I get 2 bags of chips, please?
And so, yeah, her way of being nicer is when a man grabs her ass, she shoves him through the roof of the plane. Which I'm like, he did have it coming.
Well, yeah, and the Chancellor or whatever was like, okay, I get that. She's okay with that one. Apparently.
She's okay with that one.
She's like, yeah, well, you know.
Whatever, you happen.
He's like, it's the 80s. You're going to get a pinch every now and then, you know.
Span heightened alert.
So we go to school at night, okay? And George is prepping himself, like Bobby's prepping himself for the evening by putting on about 10 different types of aftershave. And he says it's, quote, the multiple cologne trick. It keeps them off their guard. And I write, I imagine keeping women off their guard is Bobby's only game plan. He's like, Milo, I got it. I got how I'm going to get women from now on. I confuse them. I confuse them to the point where there's smells, there's sounds, there's feels. They don't know what's going on. The sensory overload is so extreme that they don't even realize I'm already in them. And Milo just pulls out a pair of handcuffs and goes, George, what size are you, honestly? Because you better get used to them. And then after all of him saying, I want to keep them off their, I got to keep them confused. I got to come at him from all angles. He puts on a fedora and walks out. Oh my God. Then
The telltale sign.
oh my God, does it get worse. He just stands in the hallway waiting for women to walk down the hall, and he's just going to accost them. And he's like, well, he's done the math in his head. He's like, well, there's so many girls in the school, and so many are going to walk down this hall, so my best shot of ever having sex with a woman is literally to stand at the end of this hallway and wait for them to come, and then I'll try and... I'm surprised he didn't do the old, I'll bump into him and see what I can get my hand onto. You just see him, the old trip trick, as he calls it, where he has like a banana peel on the floor, and he goes, whoa, and just goes...
Hands out.
Hands out, just kind of slipping around.
Trying to grab the slab.
He goes, there's three, he's doing it in his mind. He's like, there's 3 girls, 6 boobs. If I can get 3 of them, I've succeeded.
Dear diary.
He's shooting 50% from 3. You know what I mean? Like, so he stands guard at the end of this hallway with a giant, like 9-foot long salami. Like, instead of a sword, he goes, "Who goes there?" and sticks a salami in her mouth. He's carrying this thing on his shoulder like it's a fucking like
It's a great
Carrot top
setup.
with props.
I'm telling you, he's fucking.
I'm
like
waiting.
He's fucking Lancelot with this thing. He walks around with this salami, swinging it around at people. And he walks up to him. He goes, "Hey, you want to play hide the salami?" And I write, "Did he just buy this for this gag?"
That's a big salami.
Do you think they just found it later in the trash, just sticking out? There should have been a scene where the hooker grabbed it and goes, "Oh."
I've seen bigger.
If there was a part later in this movie where he goes, "I can't find my salami," and then you just hear a little whoop.
I would have wanted to see him walking down the dorms and like her door is open. There's salami is in the bed smoking a cigarette. There's a cigarette sticking out of the salami.
Okay, so then a girl slaps him, right? And then he says, "I guess a blowjob's out of the question." And I write, "Did they just rip that off from my tutor, or did my tutor rip it off from this movie?"
Right?
That's literally the same
line
thing
for line.
that happens. And I write, "Yeah, George. Yeah." Then we go to this party. Oh my god. So the party, all right, basically Jolene, Punky Brewster, the wrestler, and Perky Lady, who is the girl from Revenge of the Nerds, okay? They all go to a party on the back of these motorcycles. So our boy, Punky Brewster's boyfriend, has returned, okay?
Thank God.
Yeah, he's finally in another scene. And they go to some, like, fraternity party that I guess, like, the Perky girl knows everybody there?
Yeah.
It was a fraternity or just a rich people party?
It was a fraternity. I saw the symbol, the Greek symbol.
Oh,
on
that's
the wall.
right. Yeah.
And he's like, everybody in this place talks like, "Oh, yes, la la la." You know?
I like caviar and
No, I have
people.
I actually am going to interject with a story here.
Okay.
When I was in high school, I worked at a Round Table Pizza, okay? And every Wednesday, these people would come in, and they called themselves the Mission Viejo Yacht Club. And they would come into the restaurant. They just look like regular people, okay? They would come into the restaurant every Wednesday. They were the biggest bunch of fucking dicks that would come into this place because they'd all want like half off their beers and like half off their pizza. And it's like, we don't own the place. I mean, thank you for coming here every Wednesday, but honestly, fuck you, sir. Like, you're not getting free food.
Yeah.
You stay here past closing. We don't even like you. But they would all come in and they go, "Oh yes, we would like the King Louis, and I would like a pitcher of Bud Light, please." By the time they were 4 pitchers in, all of a sudden the accents disappeared. I was like, wait, why do you guys come in here doing these rich accents? And they would like try and play it off like they were all these rich people that own yachts. By the way, if you know Mission Viejo, there's a lake, but there ain't no fucking ocean.
No.
There's nowhere for a yacht to be located. Hughes, your uncle is actually part of a yacht club in Dana Point, which does have an actual connection to the ocean. And he never puts on a rich man's voice, does he?
No, he just likes to drink.
And he does lure women back to the boat, so.
On the monorail system, yeah.
Then all the bikers show up to this party, right? So there's all these like rich guys sitting around like they're all Ivy Leaguers, and these bikers show up and they just kind of start wrecking the party. It's great though. Like they walk in, they literally just like kind of push their way through the door.
Yeah.
And then like Snake is just like grabbing guys by the throat, just kind of tossing them around.
God, I love that.
Breath mint? No.
Yo, there was a guy who pulls a full Cosby on just a regular guy.
Yeah.
He forces a pill down his throat by calling it a breath mint, and that's what I actually wrote, Chris. I said, "Do you think that's what Cosby did?" Like, because he did the headache thing.
Yeah.
Do you think he was like, "Oh, your breath smells, honey"? She's like, "I've never tasted an Altoid like this." No, it's the kind you swallow. So yeah, he drugs a man. He I guess he gives him a roofie, right?
Quaalude, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a Quaalude. That's right. Because he says it is. And then we find out that Punky Brewster's dad is apparently the chairman of the board of the stock exchange, is what he says. And I go, yeah, just the stock exchange in general, I guess, the whole thing,
Yeah,
right?
in LA.
Just
not
the,
like the Nasdaq or the Dow,
Just
or
the
anything.
whole caboodle, yeah.
Just the stock. Yeah, in LA, by the way. He's got very odd hours, this guy. Like, why the president of the king of the stock exchange lives in Los Angeles? I don't know. And then apparently these bikers, they don't know any class, right? Because they go to a cake and just start digging into a cake with their hands and shoving it in their mouths like they haven't eaten in a week. And then they just start drinking punch and then spitting it out because it's not good. Oh, with his bare hands again. Yeah. He just takes his hand and like it's a river. He
pulls a fee hand.
When Chris and I were in 6th grade, we were having a party in class, and there was a kid in our class. When you looked at the back of the room, Chris saw him drinking the punch with his bare hand out of the punch bowl.
And it was a Greek-themed party, so I can't blame him.
Yeah, he was like, it's like in ancient Greece. Yeah, he spits it out. He says it tastes like panther piss, and then he takes 2 Jack Daniels bottles out of his pocket, which he's got 2 in his
I like
pocket
that idea, too.
just in case. And I wrote, I do like how these guys are so low class they don't even know how to use utensils.
No.
Because he wasn't using them earlier in
No.
the movie when he's eating that chicken.
No.
So then we go to...
They go to the music. They're like, "Oh, what is this?"
Yeah,
and
the
then,
party's done. They played every beat. I didn't even write it down. He was...
You got a Twisted Sister?
Yeah, you got any Twisted Sister? And they're like, no, all they got is this like this real cock rock that this guy who directed and wrote this movie wrote this song. It's called Stew School. Then we go to like some lookout, and Philo and the Klutz girl are making out, and then they see some UFO go over their heads, and they pretend like it's nothing, and then they, I guess, just fuck in a car.
Yeah. I was.
So he couldn't get the bra off, and she finds his boner. I guess it's in his jeans.
Wait, he couldn't get the bra? I didn't.
Yeah.
Even, oh my
God, it was fast.
Especially in 1.5 speed. So then we go to the party. Everybody's dancing to have a good time except Jolene. But the guy who got Cosby'd then wants to dance with her. And then one of the proper girls gets on a table and starts taking her top off. And Snake is like watching her, and then he makes Punky Brewster get him a beer, and then he makes out with the girl who got topless.
Right.
And we will never reference that again.
Nope. Done.
Then we go back to the school, right? And then we see Ilsa. She's tied a man up in her room. I guess what you said, the pilot.
Yeah, I think it's the pilot.
She has a man like a gimp, like in a gimp outfit, chained to her ceiling.
Yeah.
And I write, this just ends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think she kicked him in the balls, didn't she?
We will...
Well, it was just like pulled back the ball gag and
that's right.
flew back into his mouth.
And that
like,
will never get referenced again.
That ends the incident. Like
Yep.
that, the quick scene, gimp,
Yeah. Okay.
ball gag, done.
So then we go back to the school, right? And all the students are like sleeping in class, and like Bobby brought his eye mask, because he's so fucking tired, wild night. And I write, but he didn't do anything.
No.
And I was like, so he must have just been busy jacking it off all night or hiding that salami with himself. I mean, he's like, it can't be that hard, right? Bobby was trying to deep throat a salami all evening, so it was a long night. But then Philo came back. He comes back in the room and he just sees George. He sees Bobby on the bed with a salami halfway down his throat, and he's slamming ham. And he's just like, all right. I did request another room earlier. How many times do you think Philo walked into that room and Bobby was slamming ham?
That was like every hour.
Like, he's like, I told you to put a sock on the door.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, I'm all out of socks. Trust me, Philo, if I had any others, I'd put them on the door. But you don't want that on the door. Trust me.
He kept sliding off.
Philo goes to start the door, and it's all like, what the hell? Somebody got Elmer's glue around here? Okay.
I made a little prank on someone, and
Oh my god! The fact that you have a story about this, Chris.
It involved, instead of Elmer's glue, it was Vaseline, and then it was a tort prank. It was assholes whose house we stayed at. And it wasn't his house. He was one of the roommates. He was terrible to us, and we put Vaseline on like a door handle of some bathroom thing or something, and then we put it on the inside of his door handle of his car. And we only alluded that it was sexual because I think someone found condoms in the house and like unwrapped it and like put it next to the scene.
Like somebody would somehow get their dick into the bottom of a door handle and just come there.
Yeah, basically.
Like that's what they wanted to do.
That's...
Like they were fucking somebody, and then they're like, "Wait, hold on, I got a good gag. Can you? I gotta go. Leave." And then he rips the condom off, shoves his dick into a door handle, and goes, "Yeah, there you go. I got him."
That was what we were trying to infer was what happened. We put way too much thought into it.
Yeah, if I was that guy, I would have been like, "Well, this is just confusing. This is a very elaborate get. Like, Jesus Christ, somebody hates me."
Yeah, follow the breadcrumbs, buddy.
I might go pull a carotene in that situation.
Follow the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, you have like the wrapper and then the condom and all, like this whole trail of things, like a chalk outline around it.
A feet right in front of the doorknob.
And then somebody was like, "Well, I don't think he's gonna get it. Maybe we should leave a note." Okay, I came on the door. Wait, where do we put that? Stick it in the window.
The window. Maybe the toaster makes less sense. Put it there.
You think he found that note?
There was no note. It was a rushed job. That's
and
why.
they're like, "Wait, Chris, if he doesn't find the note, can you run over there and go, 'Oh man, it looks like somebody jizzed on that door.'"
Run away really quick.
And then Dave, you also run up and go, "Yeah, I think so too." We gotta confirm it so nobody thinks it's kind of weird.
Well, we did it. It was like a rush thing. It was like early in the morning. We wanted to wake this kid up, so we banged on his door. I'm like, "Hi!" I'm trying to get him to chase us or something like that. And like, Dave had the car. Someone had the van running, and like we just jumped in and like peeled out. And the guy stuck at his like, "What the fuck was that?"
It's like, "Oh, all right,
Sounds like something in
we'll see you
Arizona.
next time."
I think it was Arizona.
Sounds like every story we have from Arizona.
So we go back to like Ilsa is now teaching class, and everybody's wearing life vests, right? And they like have to make the passengers slide down that slide, which I've always dreamed of. As a kid, every time I get on an airplane, I'm like, I want to go down that fucking slide. And my dad would always be like, "Well, it would be we would probably be dead in the case of that slide coming out." And I go, "But it looks fun."
Yeah. This is the part of the movie where I think everybody that's in the planes are paid actors.
They have to be, Hughes.
They have to
This is
be.
all a simulation.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they have an above ground, like a doughboy pool with a life raft in it. I'm like, why do they need the raft? Like, and literally, this is like a 5-foot long pool, and they got a raft that's like 4 feet long, and somebody's gonna row it across this like circle of a pool. Like
In this movie, if something doesn't make sense, that means there's a gag behind it. If it just appears and it's out of place, there is a gag.
You're right, but before so they have to get out all these passengers on time because apparently the plane's gonna sink if they don't. Like I don't know why it's a time limit, right? And why? You know what? By the way, they only put this shit on the plane so you feel better about it because if you hit the ocean, you're fucking dead. It's like hitting concrete. Oh yeah, the plane will just lightly land on the ocean, like a Sully situation.
Sully,
you know, there's a reason that's only happened once. By the way,
We're just gonna kiss the water a bit, you know.
we're just nudge our way in. Do you think the people on that Sully flight got to use the thing?
Yeah, I'm sure they
They're
did.
floating on it.
It's like they were like, finally,
Yeah,
finally, we
last.
get to use it. What if they go out? They're like, "Oh, where's the slide?" And they go, "Oh, those don't actually exist. We just
The movies.
we just put it in there to make you feel better about it. There's no life rafts here. There's not, you know those things that come down. There's no air.
It's hooked up to the exhaust.
Look, if something goes wrong, we're all fucking dead." It's all for show. It's made by Fisher Price, you know.
Actually, those gas masks, the tubes lead back to the lavatory, right above.
My dad said he was on a flight when those came down.
Oh,
once.
shit.
Like they lost air pressure in the cabin and it came down and all this stuff. So it was pretty scary.
Yeah, I bet.
You asked him what it smelled like?
Okay, so we go to Ilsa's like, okay, so they're all getting these people out, right? But apparently there's these old drunk people, which I don't even understand. It doesn't even fucking make sense why these people are there.
So I think these are cut scenes where the nasty head mistress lady is taking the paid actors and giving them to the shitty people to get them cut.
Yeah.
And then
You think they just cut that out?
They cut that out.
It makes perfect sense because we jump into this scene in the middle of it and it makes no sense. And then I'm like, wait, if these are paid actors, how long have they been here to get drunk? And why are they serving them real alcohol? Like they're here for a training. Why is there real alcohol being served on this training?
Real experience.
No. You need a license to serve alcohol. So, like, you're telling me that the Stewardess School, like, they get a license to serve hard liquor on their test planes and everything? Like, this is a fucking joke. That they're all drunk and they won't get out. And of course, guys, like Hugh says, there's got to be a gag. There's a reason we got that doughboy pool, right? Because Jolene gets these people out. And they're like, oh, we got to make the time. And she, like, I guess she jumps from the top of the plane.
Yeah, she doesn't slide. She cannonballs into this fragile raft.
Yeah, and because she's such a land well at 110 pounds that she pops the whole raft. And then, by the way, when she pops the raft, it was full. So there's only like 3 people left in the pool when she surfaced. I'm like, did they just she's
vaporize?
so big they just vaporized with her girth. Like you just get a person, no. She is so fat. This girl is so fat. She doesn't even pop the pool. She vaporizes the people. Like there's not even a blood left. There's not even a speck of blood. These people have literally gone into another dimension. She's crushed them out of existence.
They've gone subatomic. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm sure the lady who played this character told her parents, please do not go to the premiere of this movie. Please do not. The reshoots.
There was a premiere for this?
The reshoots I had to do.
Can you imagine working on a movie like 3 years earlier and then like coming back, okay, premiere time.
3 years later, all right, guys, it's time for the premiere. They're like, wait, what movie was that? Oh no!
No. A cake. The cake haunts me still.
I have a career. No, please no.
I'm on Dynasty, damn it.
Like you see the guy playing Philo, like, could you please remove my name from that poster, please. So we go back to the Chancellor's office, and the plot develops. This plot is worse than the van. A guy just comes into the office. I don't even understand what he says.
Well, they're going to cut these people. The 9 misfits are going to be kicked out of school.
Okay, but we don't know that yet. Apparently, it's going to happen. We don't even get that scene, Hughes. The next scene we see is the Chancellor's in his office, and some guy, Mr. Spaghetti...
No, Stromboli.
Mr. Stromboli, Mr. Gizzolino, shows up and he's like, "Hey, I needed a flight attendant for my plane or something." I don't know what the fuck this happens, but he goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll give you some flight attendants." And he's like, "All right, I pay you a $500."
No, yeah, something like that.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
He said he wanted like the top graduates. And
Yeah.
he's going to pay money.
Yeah, I don't understand any of this, right? He's just like, "I wanted a top graduate. I'm gonna pay you a money for Stromboli." Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I got the top graduates for you." And then he talks them up
I
on
was
like
like,
from the
I don't
price
get why.
I was like, "But what's the angle?"
to make money
I don't
and to get them out of the school.
But I don't understand. You have a guy that just came in and said, "I want your best people. I will pay you money." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to fuck this guy over." But why?
Because he doesn't get paid any money if they kick him out and they don't become stewardesses.
No, but why is he going
I
to
don't
fuck
know.
over Mr. Stromboli? Does he hate Italians?
Yeah, there's no motive here whatsoever.
I don't understand it. I mean, I thought maybe you guys caught something because I didn't.
I missed.
Then we just go to Ilsa's office. She's about to fire all the misfits, and then the Chancellor calls
and goes, "No."
she's like, "All right, well, I guess you all have a job." And then we go to the graduation speech, and it says everybody's graduating. They're going to be assigned to airlines. I go, "What the fuck is this?" And then Punky Brewster just makes a fart sound with their mouth, and the scene ends. Then we go to, like, the movie just ends in this rapid pace.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of stuff that happens in the last 10 minutes of this movie is like, where did this come from? Did they just decide, like, oh, fuck, we need some sort of plot? Like, we're really up shit's creek at this point. This is a 170-minute cut, 150 minutes of dick jokes. Then the losers are getting assigned to Stromboli Air, okay? And I write, so I don't get it. The Chancellor says something about getting what you pay for, and I write, what is the fucking plan? What is the plan? Then we go, okay, so then let's just go to the end of it. Let's just go to the fucking end of it. They go to Stromboli Air, and for some reason, this man lives at an airport and has like a mansion on the airport premises, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand any of this.
Neither do
but
I.
he has them all have dinner, and I'm like, so are these the only people that work for Stromboli Air? Are these people that he just hired? Like,
Yeah.
what happened to everybody else? Oh, the plane crashed! I lost the plane. It went down.
We made it out of a breadstick.
And then basically, this movie just ends with a terrorist guy in a trench coat getting on an airplane and like drugging this businessman guy, but I guess he's like some sort of FAA guy.
Or something. He has
He
all
roofies
this
this
paperwork
guy,
out.
but he like gives him, I don't know what the fuck he gives him. And this guy's like has a bomb, but his bomb is just literally like a Home Depot battery with like a little, like a clock.
And a dynamite.
And
Sitting-
a dynamite.
sitting under blind
it's not a bomb.
George Jefferson.
Yeah, George Jefferson shows up.
Yeah.
And by the way, the whole plane is filled with blind people, which I didn't get.
I didn't get
I was
what-
like, is this a blind convention? What? Why is everybody blind?
I think it was like a Stevie Wonder concert was in town.
A Stromboli Air, it's for the blind.
And then they all had to have window seats.
None of this makes sense. And then there's a bomb, and then for some reason Philo's glasses get like his contacts fall out again. And then of course, the guy takes out the pilots. They're like, Philo, you need to fly the plane and land it. And for some reason he can see if you flip the binoculars the other way. And I write, that's not how it works.
Are we just gonna gloss over the blowjob scene? 'Cause
Yeah.
Of course we're not. The only other thing that happens in this movie is that the drugged guy starts going crazy, and then they're like, well, how are we going to calm him down? And the hooker comes over and goes, well, I'll just give him a blowjob, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold this blanket over me.
And she blows this guy, and then there's that part where Bobby walks past Ilsa.
Oh God, yeah.
Because
And she's
for
like-
some reason, for no reason at all, Ilsa is on this flight.
Yeah, why is
She's
she
like,
here?
He's an FAA inspector that's going to fail them or
There
something?
is the guy who gets drugged is the FAA inspector. The
Yeah.
guy who gets drugged. And then she just shows up and she's just like, what, I'm going to grade you? It's like, fuck off, bitch. I already got out of school. Fuck you. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You don't have to be. Where's your ticket?
Right? Where's your? Yeah. She's like reporting everything, and
Yo,
she goes
who
like,
fucking cares?
and
Get
he-
out.
And she's writing, and Bobby walks by and looks at it and goes, "Oh, blowjob is 2 words."
And then, as if that wasn't baffling enough, they don't even show the plane landing because they did not have the money to show an actual plane landing. They just kind of fade out. And
Yeah.
then we're in a courtroom. And I write, for what?
And that was what the issue with the Elsa character was. She was reporting to the FAA that they were bad stewardesses and needed to be fired. And then they have a court witness.
For what? What is
Why?
what court
I
case?
don't
There is
know.
no case in the world that you would bring stewardesses to a court of law and say, like, you should be fired or not.
Well, I don't
When
know.
has that
Publicly giving
ever
a
happened?
blowjob.
When has that ever happened?
I don't know.
And then they're like, oh, we have a surprise witness. And we see like a POV of a guy walking in and like people are talking to the camera and everything. And then it's just the guy who got a blowjob and he says, it was the best flight I ever had. And the movie just ends with everybody going, yay! Like, that's it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, they were just like, we're ending this podcast. They were like, all right, go, movie, done. Oh, okay. Well, by the way, we did gloss over the worst fucking gag in this whole movie. The bomb on the plane does go off, and there's a big hole in the plane. And, Chris Hughes, tell me, how does the fucking cabin keep pressure?
Porky Brewster.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this poor, normal-looking girl can smell out a cake. Her ass is so big it can fill a bomb hole in a plane. Which, by the way, the bomb on this plane is like a sparkler went off. It's like if
Yeah.
a bomb went off on a plane, that much dynamite is gonna blow off the whole side. Like everybody's dead.
Yeah. You're
You
gonna
know?
be dead before you hit the ground.
But instead, there's a little hole, and Jolene's ass is so big it fills the hole and keeps the cabin
And
pressure.
she goes, she's in there. She goes, I think it's raining outside. I'm like, oh, ha ha.
And then the movie ends.
Yeah.
Recommendations?
Nope. No.
No,
it
you
Here
can
comes.
skip this one. When I was talking to you, you're like, I like it. Mike's like, I like this movie. It was right after you watched Tentacles. And you know fucking well
I was like, well, I got a few laughs. I was halfway through the movie when I said that to him. And then I was like, I watched the other half. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
No, this is awful.
This is fucking terrible.
this should have stayed on the shelf.
At some point, somebody had recommended this to me, and it was on the list of movies to do. Do you guys hear that sound?
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's my Uber. I'll see you guys. If this is the first time you are hearing this show, we always harken back to the first film we ever covered, 1977's The Band, which is featured in episode 47. Listen to that one, not the first one we did. It's a lot better. A film about a ginger little shit who saves up money to buy a big yellow garish rape van for himself, and with the help of his employer, Danny DeVito, known as Andy, what kind of hijinks these two would get into. I'd like to think, what would happen on this one?
Okay, the story is clear. We got to wrap this podcast up. Obviously, Bobby, or George, is Bobby.
Yeah.
He was told at some point he's got to go get a real job. He can't just work at a car wash. He becomes a stewardess. Done.
All right, works for me. Works for me. I'm fucking phoning that one in.
3 hours and 16 minutes and
All right.
night 2 of this podcast.
This is a fucking two-nighter for this movie.
This movie deserved about an hour and a half of our time.
If after this marathon of an episode you still want to do anything nice for us, go rate and review this show on iTunes. Thank you. And also, Chris had a man from France interact with him.
Oh yeah, so I was on tour and I woke up in the hotel and I had this try to log into my Instagram. It says we observed unusual activity from, and it says like where it's from. It's like Paris, France. I'm like, oh no, you fucking didn't, because it is linked to the Grindbin account, and as long also as my Twitter. So I'm like, what the fuck? And it shows it. And I'm like, well, it's probably like a one-off. Who knows? Well, then I found out that my Twitter tried to get hacked from where else? Paris, France. So Le Bin can lay fuck itself.
Yeah, now Chris can't get his Twitter account because it's an old email.
Yeah.
So he
Oh,
can't even
God.
get to it.
So I can't get it back. But guess what? Where the fuck you are, I'm gonna be there in fucking summer. You know what? I'm gonna fuck you.
He's gonna fuck you. He's gonna fuck you. Chris is gonna bring his salami and fuck you. That's a threat if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
He's calling sodomy, or if you're a woman, Chris will be in jail. You can tell us how the inside of a lacelle looks like. Are you gonna pull the old Bobby special?
I'm just delirious at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh my god. All right. Well, thank you.
scratch what I just said. You know, yeah, fuck you, everybody. Especially that guy in France or whoever you are in France. I'm still gonna fuck you, whoever you are.
Oh my god.
So this episode of Grindbin is ending with Chris saying he's gonna fuck a man.
basically, yeah.
Do you have anything to plug?
No, we're not plugging anything on this episode.
What a poor choice of words.
You know what? Tell us. Tell Grindbin audience, convince Hughes to come back for more episodes, but we can't run this long. So.
Yeah, another 9-hour episode.
Oh my god. Maybe this will be a two-parter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking coming for you. You know what? You want to go toe-to-toe with the real American? I'm fucking ready. I'm fucking ready.
Who wants to end it? Who wants to
And
say
if you would be so kind as rate and review, hit that subscribe button in iTunes and whatever it says in Google Play. I don't know what it says. I don't have a Droid. Feel free to hit refund on either of those buttons. And
Do they still call them droids?
I mean, it is an Android operating system, but I don't think they make a Droid phone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, somebody end it. Somebody say the Bobby.
You're the guest.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking
Bobby. Say it, Hughes. I can't say it. I've never said it before. Bobby, take the plate off. Bobby, land it in the ocean. Bobby,
Take her down.
take her down. Bobby, get that blowjob. Bobby, hide that salami. Bobby. You know, I would have liked to see if Bobby and DeVito enrolled themselves in this school. Chris is going to stop recording in the middle of my talking. All right, thank you. Goodbye. This is the last episode of Grindbin ever.
I'm gonna stew, stew, don't
Spooky ain't got no real poetry.
Hello, pizza man.